Good morning, everyone. My name is Mark Siomo, Chairman of Ways and Means, and the District 9 City Councilor representing Alston and Brighton. Today is Tuesday, April 25th. We are here with the superintendent and his team from Boston Public School Department regarding the BPS budget overview for FY18, dockets 0536 through 0538. Orders for the FY18 operating budget, including annual appropriations for departmental operations, annual appropriation for the school department, and appropriation for other post-employment benefits. Dockets 0539 through 0543. Capital budget appropriations, including loan orders and lease and purchase agreements. I am joined in order of their arrival by my colleagues. To my left, Vice Chairman of Education, at-large City Councilor Anissa Rasabi George. To my right, the Chairman of Education, Councilor Tito Jackson. To my far left, Councilor Josh Zakem, and at-large Councilor Michael Flaherty. And behind me, Councilor Matt O'Malley. I'd like to remind folks that this hearing is being both recorded and broadcast on RCN Channel 8 and Comcast Channel 8, RCN 82. Anyone wishing to provide public testimony can sign in to my left by the front door. Please state your name, affiliation, and residence. And finally, I ask everyone to please silence any electronic devices. And as we start off, I want to hand it over to the superintendent, joined by the budget executive director of school finance, Ellen Lawrence, and Nate Cooter, deputy executive director of school finance. I want to welcome you to the chamber today and look forward to your presentation.
For the introduction. This morning I am joined by our CFO of Boston Public Schools, Eleanor Lawrence, who will speak after me, and also the Deputy CFO, Nate Cooter. Again, good morning, members of the City Council. Today we kick off a 2-month process to review the school department's budget approved by the Boston School Committee. I wanted to start by thanking the school committee as well as the students, the parents, teachers, and others who care so deeply about our schools and provided us valuable feedback in our process up to this point. Our budget process starts very early on in the school year as early as September from central office. We move to a school process before we even take it to the school committee. We have greatly appreciated the thoughtful public dialogue, which has already resulted in adjustments to our proposal for next school year. Before diving into the details, I want to provide some context around this year's budget. First of all, it is the largest budget in BPS history. It provides the most money ever to our schools. It provides the most learning time ever available to our students, and it provides per pupil funds that are the envy of many of our big city peers. With this budget, we're going to make the investments that are right for our district and for our students. Our 4-year graduation rate has climbed to a historic 42.4%. We need to be very proud of that. For the first time ever, we now have 46 schools designated as level 1 and level 2, the state's top 2 tiers for accountability. This $1.061 billion budget, which we will present, is not just about funding support for our schools. It is about equity. It's about creating a sustainable financial plan that aligns to our core values of equity, coherence, and innovation, and ensures that every single student has an opportunity to succeed. The fairest way to do that is through our weighted student funding formula. While we are constantly making adjustments to improve WSF, it is by far the most equitable way to distribute money to our schools. Simply put, dollar follows the students, but those dollars are weighted based on student needs. Our highest need students get the most resources, as they should. We have worked very hard to produce a budget that is fair and equitable, one that continues to provide our schools the necessary resources to offer all our students a high-quality education. I want to thank the City of Boston. I want to thank Mayor Walsh for putting aside the $40 million more for next year as compared to this year, despite declining federal funding and shrinking state aid. There is a lot that is unknown about our federal funding. So I want to thank the city. I want to thank the mayor for their confidence in us to allocate the resources needed for our students. I want to stress that overall funding directed at schools in this upcoming budget will rise by nearly 4%. This translates to a $25 million increase directly to schools over this fiscal year. Our proposed fiscal year 18 budget will make some very key strategic investments that will greatly improve the outcome of our students. Let me speak to a few of them. Number one, we're making a historical investment to extend the school day. We're investing $14 million in additional funds to give 15,000 students from kindergarten to 8th grade 120 additional hours of learning time. That is equivalent to 20 added school days. With this expansion, BPS will have implemented ELT, extended learning time, in 57 schools serving 23,000 students in just 3 years. A second investment is we're going to continue strengthening our excellence for all. For next year, we're increasing our investment to a total of $2 million in this groundbreaking initiative that offers students in 4th through 5th grade the same rigorous instruction and rich learning opportunities as those students who may be in advanced work class. Number three, we are providing significant resources and initiatives designed to give specialized services to some of our most vulnerable students. We have targeted a $1.2 million investment to approximately 3,000 students that we have identified in the district as experiencing homelessness, and we know that there might be more. Number four, we are going to provide additional supports to our level 3, 4, and 5 schools. We're providing a wide range of differentiated services and supports to the work of improving our lowest performing schools, totaling approximately $15 million. In addition, we've created a $1.25 million reserve targeted for low level 3, 4, and 5 schools with declining enrollment. And lastly, BPS will be spending approximately $20,000 per child all in when compared, which is much more than many of our large urban school districts. At BPS, we firmly believe in giving parents a voice in where their students attend school. To make this possible, we have adopted a weighted student funding system in which, as I explained earlier, the dollars follow the students. When enrollment declines at a school, central office works closely with those schools to approximately adjust staffing. There are safeguards in place to assist schools with a decline in enrollment, including sustainability allocations, or otherwise known as soft landings, and other reserves are used throughout the budgeting process. We have also supported school communities that have requested to expand grades in recent years. As a result, we have shifts in which schools our students attend. So we're pleased to say that because of such changes, we are anticipating 600 additional students to be attending level 1 and level 2 schools. And ultimately, isn't that what we want? We want our students to be attending the highest quality schools. And we are anticipating, again, 600 additional students attending level 1 and level 2 schools. At the same time, we are still being mindful that we must also support those schools that are losing enrollment. Because of what we heard from the school committee and our community in February and March, we have modified our original proposal to include a new $1.25 million reserve to support our low-performing schools, which are experiencing declines in enrollment. Our district has been and remains fully committed to supporting these schools, and I hope that these funds will reinforce existing supplemental resources to those schools. In addition, in past years, we have received more external funds than projected. If that happens again, we are committed to even further investing in our level 3, 4, and 5 schools. In closing, I'd like to reiterate our confidence in this budget proposal. We believe that investments proposed will help us continue our shared efforts to close opportunity and achievement gaps. I'm going to turn it over to Eleanor.
Thank you, Dr. Chang. Good morning, counselors. I want to start by assuring you we've heard the chairman's suggestion that we keep our presentations to 10 minutes for most of our hearings, but also his suggestion that we go into a little more detail at this, our first hearing, to give you a broad overview of the BPS budget. As Dr. Chang mentioned, Mayor Walsh's FY18 budget proposal includes a projected $40 million increase for BPS. Our appropriation is $1.061 billion before collective bargaining and $1.081 million after. We started off to design this budget with two very significant and very large financial priorities. First, a major investment to extend the school day, and second, maintaining our current school funding, otherwise known as WSF, and I'm proud to say this budget proposal accomplishes both of those goals. You've also heard us talk about our long-term financial planning efforts. We're also pleased that this budget begins to reflect some of that work paying off. We have operational efficiencies both in transportation and central office reflected. It's part of what's allowing us to propose this level of investment. I will remind you briefly how to think about the $1 billion that we spend at BPS. We think of it broadly in three categories. The largest are dollars that go to schools in school budgets. There's a second very significant category represented here on the graph in blue of what we call school services budgeted centrally. These are people and things that you will see when you walk through schools, but that happen to sit on a central budget. Those are things like transportation, portions of special education that are not on school budgets, facilities, etc. And then the smallest is central office, which is about 6.5% of spending. Here on slide 4, you can see a one-page summary or overview of our proposed budget for next year. This is a slightly different way of looking at the BPS budget than we have in our official tables. We've put this together this year because we hope it's more intuitive both for you and the public to understand. Again, you'll see the three broad categories that I mentioned just a moment ago: direct school expenses, school services budget essentially, and the central administration. You can see last year's adopted budget, our current year FY17 adopted budget, the FY17 current, and our proposal for FY18. I'll highlight a couple of the details on this page. First, and as Dr. Chang mentioned, nearly 4%, a 3.7% increase in direct school expenses. This is driven in part by our funding of extended learning time, ELT, as well as investments in students experiencing homelessness, vocational, and this number will go up when a collective bargaining agreement is reached. School services budgeted centrally are also going up at a slightly more moderate pace, overall at 2.5%. This is driven most significantly by increasing costs in transportation. Our transportation budget, we expect to go up despite the continued success of our cost-saving measures. We're experiencing a lot of pressure on the transportation budget from things like drivers' wages, healthcare costs, the McKinney-Vento legislation, and an increase in students who have door-to-door service. The last broad category is central administration. That's the only category where we are proposing a reduction in expenses, and overall we expect those to go down about 5.5%. We are obviously operating in uncertain times when it comes to federal funding. The implementation of Every Student Succeeds Act remains uncertain. We are doing our best to partner both with our colleagues at the city and state as we navigate these uncertain times. Early signals from the state also indicate status quo for Boston state education funding, which is not good news for Boston. And as has been the case for many years now, the city of Boston continues to fill the gap. You've heard me talk about this again, but I just need to drive home the point again of why education funding in the state of Massachusetts does not work for the city of Boston. On page 6, you can see both the charter school reimbursement and Chapter 70 education aid practically flat, while city of Boston BPS spending and city of Boston overall education spending grow at significant pace. Despite these challenges at the state and federal level, we are very pleased to be proposing a series of what we hope are going to be very impactful investments for next school year. They total approximately $20 million. Dr. Chang touched on a number of them, and I'll go into some more in more detail. ELT is over $14 million. We've extended vocational programming primarily at the English and Kennedy Health Careers. We are supporting our level 3, 4, and 5 schools, particularly those with declining enrollment. We're investing to support students experiencing homelessness, expanding Excellence for All, our program for 4th and now 5th grade students. We're adding more K-1 seats, another 100 students we expect to be in BPS in K-1 next year versus this year. We're funding the school committee's water policy to ensure clean drinking water in every school. Adding substitute custodians to increase the cleanliness of our schools and ensure stability of the staff who are serving schools. Supporting the Mattapan Early Elementary School. Investing in partnership with the mayor's team on universal pre-K and opening new dual language classrooms. I'm going to touch on the highlights of some of our largest investments now. Extended learning time, or ELT. In the next school year, we expect 57 schools, over 23,000 students, and more than 1,700 teachers to be participating in this program. You can see here on page 9 a summary of the research. Why do extended learning time? In a review of 27 different academic studies, 20 found a positive relationship between a longer school day and academic outcomes. In the graph on page 10, you can see some data about the school day length here in BPS, in Massachusetts, and across the country. Compared to a typical US student, a BPS student is receiving 126 fewer hours of school per year, equivalent to almost a month of school. Implementation of ELT will bring BPS elementary schools in line with state and national benchmarks. Excellence for All has been a program that we've been piloting in 13 schools across BPS, adding rigor and enrichment to the 4th grade experience. We're excited to propose for FY18 the extension of this program for rising 5th graders in the same schools. You can see the data here on slide 18. BPS grade 4 overall, our students participating in AWC, and our students participating in Excellence for All. Our students who participate in AWC look like our students participating in Excellence for All are reflecting the diversity of our BPS student body, which was the objective of this initiative. The schools are doing some really exciting things with this program. We have 11 schools offering robotics, 6 schools offering Spanish, 9 schools offering Spanish, 1 school offering Mandarin, and all schools have been offered the opportunity to participate in STEM-based field trips to Northeastern Center for STEM Education. We are also investing $1.2 million to support students experiencing homelessness. These dollars have been allocated to schools, reflecting our belief that the principals and headmasters who are closest to those students should lead the decision-making for how best to support them. Our BPS office, central office, is closely partnering with those school leaders, offering a suite of resources to help them have many different options for how to support and engage with their students. The school committee has an opportunity and achievement gap task force. Last year, that task force proposed a policy which the school committee approved, which asked for an equity analysis of every vote that was put in front of the school committee. We welcomed the opportunity, and this year, for the first time, we conducted a very exhaustive look at the equity of the BPS budget. There's a summary of that here. I'm going to spend a moment going into detail, and I'm happy to answer more questions about this offline as there's some fairly extensive analysis behind this. We asked ourselves 5 different questions to think through the issue of equity in BPS. First, what % of the budget is distributed through weighted student funding? We believe that WSF is the most equitable and transparent way to allocate dollars to schools, and we want this number to be high. All in, the number is almost 2/3 of our entire budget. This is high when we compare ourselves to national benchmarks. We also looked at how schools are being impacted by enrollment shifts. Almost 80% of our students are attending schools with stable or increasing budgets. And we put aside a reserve specifically targeted at supporting those schools who are low level 3, 4, and 5 who are experiencing declining enrollment. Third, we looked at what % of the budget is allocated to high need students, particularly in special education and ELL. Spending within the special education program code in our proposed budget is 22% of the total. That number in other districts ranges from 7 to 20. Our national benchmark suggests we are very much investing in our most vulnerable students. English language learning, our ELL students, interestingly, it's a little harder to benchmark because we have such a high rate of students who are learning English. So we looked at it in a different lens. We looked at how much we're spending on a per pupil basis. BPS is spending about 26% more per ELL student than a non-ELL student, and that compares to a national benchmark of 16. So again, the data that we are able to get nationally suggests we are really investing in our highest need students. Fourth, we looked at how else we differentiate funding for need. Our WSF weights for poverty and at-risk represent $23 million in the proposed FY18 budget. External funds such as Title I add another $21 million towards high-need students, and this remains a very high priority for our team as we think about our long-term financial planning and a multi-year lens. We would like to see these numbers go even further up. And then lastly, we conducted a comprehensive review of every dollar that's going towards a new investment, and we looked at the schools receiving new dollars from new investment. We broke it down by who are the students being served at those schools, and across the board, our investments are going towards our historically underserved populations or high-need students. The one exception was the mix between cohorts of ELT, and we think that's just a reflection of the fact that our last cohort of ELT actually are the students who are coming on board last in the sequence, so we felt comfortable with that. I want to close by reminding you where we are with our long-term financial planning process, which we launched over a year ago now. We've pulled together an advisory committee with stakeholders from across our community. We released a report in the fall looking at a comprehensive analysis of where we're spending money today, how it compares to other districts, and what are some of our choices as we consider a path for the future for BPS. We're not done with this process. We've made a lot of progress. We're at the stage now of developing proposals as we continue to get feedback from the community. So the report that we released in the fall had a number of very controversial and bold ideas that would have major policy implications for the Boston Public Schools. None of those suggestions, ideas are in any way reflected in the FY18 budget. Those are ongoing conversations which will require further approval and votes from the school committee. What is reflected are the operational efficiencies at central office and in transportation. And to remind you, the areas that we continue to study as part of the long-term financial planning include transportation, the district footprint, salaries and benefits of our staff, how we serve our highest need students, and how we advocate for external funds in a legislative environment that supports our goals. We proudly put an enormous amount of detail on our website, and I want to make sure that those in the audience and anyone who may be watching at home can go online if they want more detail about the Boston Public Schools proposed budget. It's bostonpublicschools.org/budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. Since you started your presentation, we've been joined by several other counselors. Council President Michelle Wu, District 5 City Councilor Tim McCarthy, District 3 City Councilor Frank Baker, and District 4 City Councilor Andrea Campbell. I just want to remind my colleagues that this is the first of 7 BPS hearings. We will discuss over 25 topics, and I'd like to keep to the 5-minute rule for each counselor question and answers going forward. So if you wouldn't mind kind of looking at me once in a while, I'll give you the sign so that we can keep it going around the horn here. So with that, let me start. Last year, we changed a little bit, maybe not a little bit to some people, but we changed the special ed child teacher ratio by 1, I believe. And folks, and then there was an additional, I believe, $9 million investment. Can you give us an update on what's going on, with that population? It involves SPED, kids on the autism spectrum, et cetera.
Yes, I'd be happy to. So our special education department worked very closely with every school as we did indeed implement new staffing guidelines. And we also had put a reserve aside to make sure that any schools that were having any bumps in implementation could be supported. And at this point, our team remains confident that we are meeting the needs of every student in every school as reflected in what's in their IEP. As our team got together this year and thought about the potential investments for FY18, we had conversations about how things were going, and we feel like the investments that we've proposed are the ones that are most leveraged to close opportunity and achievement gaps.
So the teams, the $9 million funded the teams. Could you give us kind of an overview of how that was implemented and how they were dispersed, I guess, to different schools, and what outcomes were we looking for? And
Right. Yeah. We have Dr. Carla Estrada, who oversees that work, is present. I'm going to invite her to join us to talk about some of that, if that's all right.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
We have a number of
And
members
again,
of our
I know
staff.
we have special topics, but this was a big issue, I believe, in last year's budget for many people.
Yeah. And as Dr. Estrada is coming down, I'll make a slight clarification. That there wasn't a $9 million investment in the teams. It was smaller than that. I think $9 million might have been the overall, I'm going back a year,
Yes,
the
right.
overall investment
Right.
in special education.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? So what we've been Carla Estrada, I'm the Deputy Superintendent of Academics and Student Support Services, and Special Education is one of my departments. And I have Cindy Nielsen here, who's also the Assistant Superintendent.
Thank you.
In regards to, I think you did a really nice job, Eleanor, clarifying how we've been supporting students as needs have come up. As IEPs are designed, we continue to provide the supports based on the IEP. So that is exactly aligned to the way we do it. As far as the supports that we invested in for our inclusion support teams, we've been able to hire a great team of CFCs, which are community facilitators, and they've done a really great job at supporting schools directly on ensuring that students who are having challenges such as behavior are able to be in the general education environment as much as possible, and that they coach and support teachers and paras who may be struggling with being able to be fully included in the general education environment and in the classroom. So that has been a focus for us this year. And we continue to build these teams. Next year, we'll be adding teachers as part of the support network. We actually have interviews happening next week. And so we'll be continuing to expand that opportunity because we saw such great success this year.
And there was also, now that you're jogging my memory, the 9 million, part of it was for new software, I
Yes.
believe. Where are we with that implementation?
So we currently have a contract we put out for RFP process, and we were able to identify the appropriate company that will be working with us. We've already started talking about design processes and the process for transition and training, and that will be starting, the formal design process is starting in May, and training will be happening over the summer to begin to transition.
Great. And what kind of feedback are you getting in the schools from the parents especially? Do you feel it's been as effective, more effective? Again, I know that the adjustment was the one student, but that if you have 10, correct me if I'm wrong, 10 students in a classroom would require a teacher and a para,
Two paras,
two paras. So 3.
adults in the room.
And what was it before, just for clarification?
Before it was 1 teacher and 2 paras for 9 students.
For 9,
And also as a reminder, within the classroom, we have ABA specialists there as well, providing direct services for the ABA needs for students that are individualized to the student,
Right.
not assigned to the classroom.
I'm going to shift gears totally. Thank you for that update. Brighton High Level 4 schools, turnaround schools. Can you give me an update on particularly Brighton High, obviously?
So Bryant High School was identified as a level 4 school. We, as part of the school's transformation plan, turnaround plan, it did require a change in leadership. Well, actually, I apologize.
Right.
Bryant High School did not require a change in leadership, but the principal did make this decision to transition for personal reasons. So Rob Rometti will be the new principal of Bryant High School. He is leading the effort currently to restaff the school. I decided to go with a model that allowed the school the most flexibility in its restaffing. So the school can restaff anywhere from 0 to 100% of its staff. Currently, we are in the plan writing process. Once the plan is completed, we will be going through a very public feedback process where I will be asking the Brighton community for any feedback before we finalize the plan. That plan does not have to be approved by the school committee or the commissioner, but both bodies will be giving me feedback. Ultimately, this plan is owned by me as the superintendent. What I'm really excited about at Bryan, we are going to be creating 2 pathways at the school, starting with next year's 9th graders. And what these pathways will do is combine academics along with career technical education. So we want to make sure the learning that's happening with students in 9th grade, and it will continue when they go from 9th through 12, will be an approach called linked learning. That is, students will be learning both inside and outside of school. They will be getting work-based experiences, and the curriculum that they're learning in school will apply not only be about the academic coursework of English, science, maths, history, but it will actually bring connect those themes from the workplace to the academics as well. The 2 pathways that will be created at the school will be one around digital design and communications, and we plan on working very closely with WGBH on that, and another one around entrepreneurship. And so very excited about doing this next phase of high school redesign and really focusing our support on our 2 level 4 high schools.
Well, let me just say that I appreciate that approach very much, and I've been in communication with Jonathan Landman. I guess he's your deputy. He's in regular communication with me in my office, and I really appreciate that. I want to offer my, any resources that I can help provide to help this situation.
That'll
move
be greatly
forward.
appreciated.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Asabi George.
Thank you, Chairman, and I did go back to my notes from last year, and my 5 minutes, I took 19 minutes.
Yes,
And I,
not gonna happen.
I learned my lesson. Thank you all for being here, and thank you, Superintendent, and Eleanor and Nate for being with us. I do want to first start by saying thank you regarding the BPS homeless students that are experiencing homelessness. Last year, when I asked you about the 4,000 students experiencing homelessness, there was certainly an agreement around the table that we needed to do more. And I had mentioned that in the entire budget, there was only 2 lines and 1 mention about this incredibly vulnerable population. And today, in contrast, we have an investment of $1.2 million in school-based support specifically for those students experiencing homelessness. And I'm very proud of our work and partnership in this area and look forward to watching BPS make some substantial and substantive changes for these kids and their families and their school environment as a whole. And I look forward further along in this process to talk about that more. I do want to switch gears, talk about transportation, both as it pertains to students that are experiencing homelessness and the regular student population. First, with the students that are experiencing homelessness, one of the things that came up quite a bit over last year in our process was this goal to, and we could talk about it in more detail when we have that particular hearing, but really reducing the time it takes for a student who is in shelter when they move to get transportation reassigned and that kid back in school. Because one of the things that we heard last year was that it took about 7 to 10 days for that kid to get back into school, and making that down to 0 is something that was really important to me. But for transportation as a whole, last year we had a pretty thorough conversation, robust and active conversation around the $10 million in savings that we were hoping to realize in the transportation budget. And I think most of us were under the impression that that was going to happen for fiscal year 17. Now we're hearing as part of our presentation yesterday that it's $5 million over 2 years, $5 million each year, this year and last year and this year. But then there's an increase by 7.5% in our transportation spending. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because less of an increase is not savings. It's still an increase. And that's the way it was explained to us yesterday by Chief Sweeney.
Yeah. When we sat down to work on the transportation budget, we asked ourselves, how much is it going to cost to do the same thing next year that we're doing this year? We did that last year. We're doing it again this year. And the cost pressures have been very significant in transportation. I mentioned a couple of them: driver's wages, healthcare, vehicle insurance, implementing McKinney-Vento, our increase in the number of students who are door-to-door. We're having some increase in cost to serve some of our out-of-district placement students. There's been a lot of pressures on the transportation budget that are driving costs up. So last year, we set a very aggressive $10 million target for savings. It was the $10 million savings last year was versus if we didn't change anything. So it was versus what we call a maintenance budget. So we didn't take the FY16 budget and simply reduce it by 10 million. We looked at a projected FY17 budget and then reduced that by $10 million. And our hope was to accomplish.
So for fiscal year 17, you look to reduce it by 10, not 5.
Our target was 10 for the
Okay.
current school year.
Okay.
And it was a very aggressive target, and we're not going to hit
I
it.
think we all talked about
Yes,
that too last
we did.
year.
We did. And we are not going to hit it for this year, but I'm proud to say I think we're going to hit it over the course of 2 years. We had a number of strategies this year that we implemented. A number of them paid off, and we're taking lessons from what worked and didn't work this year. And we have another slew of strategies that we're working on right now to implement over the course of the summer, so that at the start of next school year, we have even fewer yellow buses on the road. Would we have liked to have achieved 10 million in 1 year? Of course. But I'm actually quite proud that we're going to achieve it, even if it takes taking us 2 years rather than 1.
I would just, my initial response to that is when we're planning, we shouldn't be planning to continue to do the same thing. We should be planning to try things differently.
Yes.
So I would say that that's the only way to remove some of those pressures, is to start to do things differently. And I think that's certainly a frustration that I've shared with all of you over the course of the year and a half, is we need to do things differently. I would like to just hear, and this will be my last question for now, is what steps are we taking or have we taken or planning to take on removing some of those pressures on transportation in particular. I'm thinking about the out-of-district placements. I'm thinking about yesterday we heard 876 kids that are going to charter schools, which all puts pressure
Yes.
on the budget as a whole, but then also on the transportation budget in particular.
Yep. I'd be happy to talk to some of the strategies we're implementing in transportation right now for the coming school year. Some of them are out of our control. So the charter transportation, it's part of state law. We've actually been working, I want to recognize the partnership with some of the leaders from the charter sector, sitting down, brainstorming with them about how we can reduce costs there. But there are limits to how creative we can be because of the state law and citywide enrollment for our charter schools. So as the enrollment in charter schools goes up, it's another one of the factors that's a upward pressure on our transportation budget. So some of the things that we are doing, the top priority is reducing the number of routed students who never ride the bus. We've talked about this extensively. You're going to be seeing flyers coming home in backpacks, a big outreach effort for parents to tell us if they don't need bus service. We're going to be going really aggressively on that this year. We're also, you may have heard about our transportation hackathon. Routing and transportation logistics are a classic computer science challenge. It is big data, and we are bringing in smart minds from universities and business and anyone who's interested to try to crack the code on how to reduce the number of bus stops and route more efficiently. We are also working with the community on equitably balancing bell times.
I'm gonna start acting like a teacher again in here because there's lots of side conversations, so it's really hard to focus on your response. Sorry. Thank you.
19 minutes last time. You paid the price.
Oh, you know what? I'm asking another question. I've got a bank here.
Counselor Jackson.
Sorry.
We're surveying
Wherever you were. Thank you.
we were on the balancing bell times.
Thank you.
We have too many bell times at 7:30 and 8:30, which drives up our costs. We're
I'd
conducting.
also say, just for the record, we have too many bell times at 9:30,
Yes.
which we can
There's
do in round two.
We are conducting a survey of parents to better understand how they experience their yellow bus service, what we can do better and differently. I could keep going. We have a whole transportation here.
I'd also like, though, so that's transportation specific.
Yeah.
But also, how are we, and this will be a rhetorical question because I
Okay.
know we have to move. Our students that are leaving the district for outside placements for numerous reasons, not necessarily charter schools, how are we reducing that number and providing perhaps those supports and services in the city so we retain those kids in our Boston Public Schools?
Yeah.
That's a rhetorical question. He's got the gavel. Thank you very much.
Counselor Jackson.
Please don't gavel me like my vice chair. I want to, actually, first off, I do want to acknowledge Counselor Anissa Sabi-George for hitting the ground running, in particular around homelessness. And I'm very happy around the work that has been done there to help the over 4,000 young people that we know of who are homeless. And my hope is that we further coordinate with the Department of Neighborhood Development, Boston Planning and Development Agency, to get actually homes for these young people who are attached to families that are homeless. The first question I have, though, is I will let you know I think it's inaccurate at best to say $40 million to this body as the increase. That I don't think it's fair to my colleagues or the people who are listening to note that this is it is not a $40 million increase in the budget that we are actually going to be able to control. So I would ask that you let us know the operating aspect of the budget, and if you can disaggregate you use the word maintenance budget. So you have a top line $29 million increase. Can you back out the new programs that are involved in that $29 million increase and give this council an understanding of what the actual maintenance budget is for the Boston School Department?
So I'll say a few things. First, on the collective bargaining reserve. This is a new way of talking about our budget this year. I understand your concerns, but I think that it is very important for us to think about holistically all the money we're going to be spending next year. And
But
when
that
we-
money's not spent. The collective bargaining reserve has to come back to this body and be taken out of reserve. Those dollars, and by the way, if you actually don't close a contract, they won't get spent in that fiscal year. So I just think it top line is misleading because $40 million would mean a 4% increase across the board. So $29 million is the actual increase, and I believe, and what I'd like to know, out of that $29 million, what is the actual maintenance budget increase? Because that gives our body an understanding year over year, knowing that inflation is 3.22% since 1928, whether or not we're actually able to pay for the same thing that we had last year.
So a lot of the inflation expenses would be reflected in the collective bargaining, of course. So we did not calculate a maintenance budget for the BPS budget overall this year. We tried to take a new approach to the way we were doing budgeting. We did it for transportation, but not overall.
So can we do so again?
Yeah.
This is this is education we're talking about. So
Yep.
$29 million, right?
Yep,
So how much is the extended learning time?
14.
So that's 14. So we're down to 15, right? How much is are the new seats for our early education?
If you're, the total number of new investments totals to 20 million. It's on page 7.
Okay.
So, and they're all listed there down to the dollar. The K1 is 600 about.
Okay.
The K1 seats is 508 and the UPK investment is 100,
Yes.
so they total to 600. So it's
So-
about 20 million in new investments.
Okay. So about 20 million in new investments. So that means does that mean that the $9 million? I'd like this actual number.
Yeah.
But if you can tell me what the actual maintenance number is, because if the actual maintenance number, so 29 million minus 20,
Yep.
is $9 million. So that would leave $9 million as the actual maintenance budget. Am I correct?
Well, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Counselor, but we have also some cost savings that we are reflecting in the budget. So
I get it.
particularly at the central office. So our costs going up would be more than the 9 million. We have healthcare costs going up by over 6 million. We've got transportation. Those are the two big ones.
Yeah. So the reason why I bring that up, which $9 million would mean less than a 1% increase to the total budget in maintenance. And that is important for us to know. And the reason the reason why, and you're saying that there is a shift in the way that you calculate this, that is problematic for those of us who've been here over the course of time, because we're not comparing apples to apples. So what I would ask is that if we could have an apples to apples comparison year over year for maintenance budget, backing out reserve, because that allows us to use the prior thinking and the way in which we are able to look at a budget from year to year. Does this budget restore autistic funding?
We have maintained our staffing guidelines from the current school year.
What was the, okay, so it does not restore autistic funding from the prior year,
Correct.
from the prior fiscal year, which is the
Right.
change that Counselor Siomo brought up relative to the number of students in a classroom. So there's no
Correct.
restoration of that funding.
We are proposing the same staffing for next year as we have this year.
Okay. What is the difference between last year's and this year's staffing?
Financially or in terms of people? Sorry, it was about a $5 million change in weighted student funding.
Okay. And what did that mean in a classroom setting?
I think it was on average adding one additional student to the classroom.
Okay. Is it one or two?
I think
know-
there was mostly
just-
one, but there was one type of classroom that had 2 students. Is that right? I'm looking at my colleagues.
Okay, because I've heard from 8 to 10, and the reason why when we speak about equity and the achievement gap, understanding where we are relative to our autistic students and young people who are on the spectrum is, I think, one of the areas that is actually at the epicenter. Bless you. And I think it's really important that if we're looking at things through an equity and opportunity lens, that you're saying that there was a cut to some of the most vulnerable young people in the Boston Public Schools, and that cut was not restored in this year. I'm going to, and I would just, and I know I'm getting the side eye right now. In addition, I also believe when we look at the calculation, and this will be my last question for this round. Why is it in the school budget, unlike any other major department budget, why are benefits calculated in the school budget?
That's a good question. Sorry, I'm looking at Nate.
I think the answer has to do with how we calculate our charter reimbursement. So putting it on the school budgets helps to fully incorporate the amount. I think the other thing is that traditionally BPS has had more control over our FTEs than other city departments in the way that the state law is written. And so part of the way to control sort of our internal costs is to make sure we pay the full cost of all employees in a way that other city departments don't have the same autonomy over FTEs.
But and I would just state that I think it's unfair to BPS because when we're adding funding to other departments, we're actually adding funding directly to that department with their benefits being actually centrally budgeted. And I think that kind of detracts from BPS relative to the actual addition of funding, and really is not an apples to apples comparison relative to other major departments. So I will take the next round of questions after.
Thanks. Councilor Flaherty.
Chairman, I know this is obviously an overview, so I'm just going to let folks know my themes obviously throughout the budget will be very consistent with the years past. I'll take a look at wasteful spending, take a look at the teacher certifications, take a look at that transportation contract with respect to fleet maintenance and repair, as well as school assignments. So keeping an eye towards that. And I know that the schedule is very specific as to when we'll be dealing with those issues. So just want to put that on the forefront. And then just a couple quick questions. We raised this yesterday with the CFO around current home rule petitions that are pending, and the one that passed through the council recently was the BCC surcharge surplus pool funds. And as of this past February, we were told that 600,000 of those were invested to set up the universal pre-K for BPS, and then we'll have an added 422 seats will be added. And so then we also anticipate an additional 100 more K1 students. So my question, I guess, is if for some reason the home rule petition does not gain approval up at Beacon Hill, what's the backup plan? And I raise it just as a flag because I never want to sort of count the chickens before they hatch. And we saw it in the budget overview. We saw it in the mayor's briefing. We know that it hasn't passed yet. It passed here quickly, and obviously the mayor signed it, but sometimes it gets up there and strange things can happen. And so I just don't know what the fallback is. We've promised, the K1 seats and the universal K1. And if we lose that home rule petition momentum, what's our plan B, I guess?
Yeah, at this point, as far as I'm aware, we don't have a plan B.
Okay.
The issue is for not the coming school year that starts in September, I think, but the year after that. We have fully funded and are able to serve the 100 additional K1 students we're expecting in September, regardless of the BCC work.
Okay. We know that the folks over at BCC, I think they're in discussions about talking about a possible expansion where they would need some of those funds. And when something like that, a home rule petition goes up to Beacon Hill, every Tom, Dick, and Harry state rep is going to want something for their community and for their district and for their schools. So I just caution, I guess, really full-fledged spending that dough until we get the okay. And we sent a lot of home rule petitions up there, probably a larger amount than normal. So law of averages, we're not going to probably bat 1,000. Yeah. I just want to make sure that if this is the one that gets knocked off the block, then how are we going to back end it? So
yes.
And then just the last question is, I know we budgeted 1.3 for a vocation education opportunity in English High and at the Kennedy Health Career. What were the factors in sort of determining and categorizing those schools as vocational? What resources are we giving those schools? And is there any sort of public-private partnership that we've tried to connect with those schools to? And again, I look at it, it's not good enough anymore that we're graduating kids. We're in a global economy. We boast of having the best college and universities in the world. If our kids aren't getting into those great schools, that's a disappointment. If our kids aren't able to compete globally, that's going to be a disappointment. So wanting to tap into these public-private partnerships, whether it's GE or others, we know of GE, but could we put some pressure on some of other Boston companies to step up to the plate and to partner with us so that it's not just about getting the student into high school or getting the student out of high school. It's what lies ahead for these kids, and particularly in a global economy. I'd like to start to see. I know we get some innovative stuff happening. Councilor Sabi George, you just mentioned something that's going on, which is all good, positive stuff. But we obviously need to continue on that trend. She likes doing things sort of new and different based on her experience in the classroom, and being able to embrace that and focus on preparing the next wave for the global economy would be something I'd like to see in this $1 billion school budget.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's not only about the investments that we're making, it's about the investments that we're encouraging others to make, our companies, community partners. I'm a big believer that career technical education and academics have to go side by side, and it's about not only the rigor of the high school education, it's also about the relevance of high school education. So I want to just affirm everything you just said. The reason why English High School and EMK were the two chosen for this year for this investment, they went through a pretty extensive process with the state to be certified as career vocational technical education programs. I'm very excited about the protective services pathway at English High School. There's going to be a focus on cybersecurity as well as the kind of traditional protective services as well. And then EMK, of course, they're kind of medical services, and they have had a history of working with a lot of the hospitals in that area, and we're going to continue building on that. And so very proud of the work that EMK has been doing.
Great. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Superintendent.
Councilor Wu.
Thank you,
Oh,
Mr.
I'm sorry. Councilor O'Malley.
Sorry.
I'm sorry about that.
I'll happily defer to after Michelle.
Okay.
I only had one question for everyone, given this is the overview. I just wanted to know how all the long-term stuff had fit in, because I don't really see it necessarily outlined in here. I know starting from last time, we were talking about schools giving a little more sort of runway and seeing down the pike what the changes would be, either to weighted student funding or especially with grants coming and going. I mean, we all in this room really understand how tight the budgets are with costs going up. And it seems every year central office is sort of squeezed more and more and more to try to make room for schools. But when will the long-term picture start to manifest itself in more than just this is what's happening this year, and so they can plan ahead 1, 3, 5 years?
Over the last 18 months, we've been doing a lot of planning documents we had 3 major planning documents, one on a strategic implementation plan that puts all our initiatives out there. These are all the things we're working on in the next 3 to 5 years. The long-term financial planning document that you spoke about, and then most recently, Build BPS, that puts forth the conditions of our buildings, where our schools are at relative to other hubs of learning in our city, how close they are to our transportation hubs. Basically puts all the information we need to begin doing some of the kind of the hard lift of reconfiguring schools, making sure we're building schools where families are going to be growing in. And so we're very optimistic as we move into next year that some of these major critical policy shifts, I guess I'll say, we'll be able to see the fruits of our labor and our planning. And so with the reconfiguring of our schools, we'll also do a better job with our transportation. A lot of those are also interlocked. We're also in the middle of negotiations with our collective bargaining partners, and the Boston Teachers Union is our biggest body, and we're still working very vigorously to make sure that we get a contract that is both respectful to our teachers, responsible to our city, and so all those are all working interlocked to be able to unlock the resources we need to invest more into schools. Anything you want to add?
So does that mean that, so for example, once the contract is settled and there's a little more certainty about the salary and benefit related costs for the next few years, then next year we can start to see actual multi-year budgeting?
Yeah, we're working on the multi-year budgeting right now. One of the themes that came out loud and clear for the long-term work is how much schools are craving that multi-year stability so they can plan their own instructional programs and their supports for kids. So we hope that this year actually is the start of that process. I think our school leaders have appreciated, we're doing all sorts of stuff that you don't see in the budget to partner with them so they can have that stability for their planning, and we're getting some positive feedback from them. And we're hoping that there's more we're ready to say publicly about what a multi-year picture will look like. We're just not quite there yet. The big rocks that we need to tackle are complex policy questions that touch so many members of our community, and it's just been hard to go as fast as on those items as I understand folks might want.
Okay, great. Thank you. Look forward to digging in over the next couple of weeks. Thank you.
Yeah.
Counselor O'Malley?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good afternoon, good morning, Superintendent and team. Just wanted to begin by acknowledging the good work of our former colleague, Rob Consalvo, who's recently joined BPS. We're really grateful that he is continuing to serve the people and the neighbors that he knows so well. I have two brief statements that I want to get into some specific questions on the budget. The first is about ELT, extended learning time. ELT as a concept is brilliant. It makes sense. It's giving our kids more classroom time. It's obviously, or oftentimes used for good enrichment. We've seen how it has worked well. In practice, there can be some unintended consequences that make it less desirable and certainly less effective than we would like, and not the least of which is the fact that we've got many of our elementary schools that start at a later start time, 9:30 a.m., which means the extra hour of time can often lead to kids, being prohibited from doing after-school sports or other after-school activities. Counselor Asabi-George and I have met with some parents at a school in my district concerned about other unintended consequences. So I would again like to reiterate the call that Counselor Asabi-George and I have been making for quite some time as we talk about high school start times. Now, you may argue that most of our kids, or probably most of our kids, high school students, do not receive transportation. So that's not necessarily related to the later start time for schools, but many high schools, in fact, all high schools have at least some buses because of different services that those kids need. So again, I would argue today that the way we can address a better and more impactful and effective extended learning time in our elementary schools is to begin the process of pushing an earlier start time for those schools and a later start time for the high schools. There is conclusive evidence after evidence after evidence. In last month's Boston Magazine, a doctor who testified at our hearing, Counselor Asabi-George, wrote this piece essentially on that. It was an interview on sleeping habits, and half the article was about the irrefutable evidence that a later start time and more sleep for our high school students makes more sense. So I think that's what we need to do. We've had conversations, Superintendent. We will continue to have conversations, but I just want to make it crystal clear that my concern with ELT isn't in concept. In concept, it makes sense. In practice, we're not doing it the right way, and we have a real opportunity to do so. That's one statement. My second statement is on the facilities plan. I've brought this up at every budget hearing since I've been elected to this seat. In March of 2011, I called for my first hearing order on Boston facilities. None of you were working for BPS at the time. In fact, looking around this chamber, Counselor Siomo was the only other counselor who was serving at that time. Everyone else has come since. We've been told that it's coming. We've been told that there's been an opportunity for robust public dialogue, but the can keeps getting kicked down the road, and it's a missed opportunity. We know there's going to be some tough conversations, but we cannot continue to wait on this and keep punting this ball. We have to have these conversations. We have to work with our stakeholders. We have to work with our school communities and have these tough conversations. And we've beyond waited long enough for this. I ran into a fellow over the weekend who runs a maker's lab and wanted to donate some of his, in exchange for use of some space, wanted to donate some of his material, these 3D cutters, these laser cutters, 3D printers, other workstations. Called a number of schools in my district we couldn't find because there was no room, and it just sort of reiterated my desire to have a real facilities plan, because I think we're also missing out on these public-private partnerships we've been talking about. That said, I want to just go through some of the line items that are seeing some decreases. So I'm on page 202 of the budget book. It's also in your handout. If you could just give me the sort of explain. If you look at line item 52200, utilities, a cut of about $1.3 million. Is that primarily fuel? A barrel of oil is cheaper, is that why?
Yeah, we worked with the city's budget office to do our projections for utility usage. So we're expecting both the cost and the usage of our heating fuel to go down for the next year.
And is that because of affirmative changes, or just sort of the market dictates gas is cheaper than it was 4 years ago?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, it's mostly the cost of oil, and we've had a number of years where we have actually come in under budget in that category, and so we're adjusting to reflect actual expenditure.
No, I appreciate that, Nate. And again, to reiterate the desire for the facilities plan, as was proven yesterday with Dave Sweeney's overview, the city has saved $6 million on energy-efficient streetlights. This is another opportunity that BPS could be building greener and better energy-efficient schools. There's a $4.6 million decrease on contracted services, also under contractual services, 52900. Can you just tell me what that is?
Yeah, our contracted services budget includes a number of different categories. I just want to give you a sense of where they are. The largest category in that where we see a decrease is in our what we consider purchase services. Those are spread across schools and departments for use in any time we're working with an outside agency or partner. Of the reductions that we see in contracted services, 1.8 million is at the school level. Despite the fact that budgets for schools is increasing by 1.8 million, we do see a shift away from contracted services and non-personnel in general for schools. There's a lot of reasons why that may be happening. Part of it could be the recognition of school-based interventions for ESL or for other FTEs. We see schools adding FTEs, so the conversion of contracted services into positions at the school level.
So these would be for a specialist brought on to help a student, these contracted services?
Contracted services could be used for any number of things. It could be for things like Playworks, which is a partner that comes in and runs sort of structured recess.
Yeah. No, it's very successful. I love Playworks. Has worked great at the Manning School in Jamaica Plain.
Sure. Or it could
Are those
be
being eliminated or phased out?
I think school-based is there was not an elimination or phase out of Playworks. I was just using it as an example of how they might use contracted services. I think school-based decisions are rolling up to see when we see it at an aggregate level. We see schools are shifting from non-personnel to personnel, but with 125 schools and a $1.8 million decrease, that really just means 1 in 4 schools making the decision to add an interventionist instead of their planned purchase of a contracted service.
Would like reading recovery come under that sort of contractual service as well?
That's how they could pay for it. Sure.
So it's 4.6 million overall. 1.8 is at the school level, so that's 2.8.
Yeah, 1.4
elsewhere.
we see reductions in contracts in the finance office. The finance office tends to be a holding place for expenditures that are planned in other places. As much as I would love large contracts to be able to spend. So
you guys are saving 1.4 million.
Well, it was a holding place.
Terrific.
Yeah, we do our part. 1.4 million was converted. Part of it was to go. A large portion of it was to pay for what's called special education autonomy funding at our UP schools. They have the ability to receive the per pupil allocation for things like SPED itinerant service providers. At this time last year, we had not finalized the amount that they would receive for special education autonomy funding, so it was held in a finance contracts line and was allocated at a later point in the year. This year, we've done the work with them to allocate the money to them. So that's a large portion of the decrease in the finance contracts office. There's also a $300K reduction In innovation, the superintendent is cut $330K in purchase services from his department. So you see a lot of departments as we start to look at priorities for the next year, places where we have either over or under budgeted in the past.
And I
reallocate
just want to
resources
be
out.
clear, so I have it right, and so people paying attention have it right. When you talk about, 330K cut in purchase services, that could be something like catering for staff meetings or something, right?
It could be catering for staff meetings because that's paid out of a different account,
Okay.
but other.
I'm not. This isn't trying to be a
Yeah.
gotcha. I'm trying to reconcile. This is the biggest decrease we've seen in our budget. You all have said that about pointing to anywhere from a $20 million or $9 million, depending on which figures you sort of incorporate in terms of an increase. I just want to make it clear that these decreases aren't affecting or I want to know that these decreases aren't affecting our students.
We have taken a number of steps to run very tight at the central office. President Wu was acknowledging the fact that we've done this for a number of years, so it's not without any consequences, but you will see reference in our documents to the fact that we have done across-the-board cuts to stipends, food, travel. We've done selective change adjustments to staffing, personnel changes. We are going to be running tight centrally, and I don't want to pretend that that has no consequences. It constrains our ability to solve mid-year problems, in particular, that come up at the school level. But again, we feel like it was the right thing to do for this budget because it's enabling us to send more school money to schools and to enable that list of $20 million of investments, which we're so passionate about.
Okay, thank you. And then the final question for this round is line item 55900, miscellaneous equipment, under equipment, a cut of $1.5 million. It's essentially the entire cut of the equipment line. And what is that? Are those vehicles or smart?
I'm just pulling up the detail as
Sure.
I. 559 appropriation level equipment tends to be computer equipment, computer desktops, and photocopy equipment are the largest categories. The biggest decrease in this is a $1.3 million decrease in the computer equipment line. We just completed a rollout of a Chromebook purchase. That's not planned to continue next year. So we just purchased Chromebooks cost sharing with schools. So the $1.3 million reduction is in our Office of Instructional Technology as part of their rollout of student Chromebooks at schools.
And that is because you wouldn't need new Chromebooks every year. A Chromebook will last 3, 4, 5.
That's right.
Probably 3 or 4.
This was the
Planned.
sort of planned end of the
Somewhere in there.
Chromebook
Okay.
rollout for this year.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Counselor McCarthy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, everybody. We'll probably be seeing you more than we do our families until July, so that'll be nice. Couple things I'll just keep to what Mark said originally, try to stay at 30,000 feet. We simply, I'll talk about District 5 in particular, we simply just don't have enough seats, and we have seats that are empty. So I'll give you a perfect example. Roosevelt School, we have inclusion seats that are empty, yet we have people waiting to get into the Roosevelt. So we can't just create inclusion kids, so we're just going to leave the seats empty. Really makes no sense. The biggest phone calls we're getting in my office is a constant. I've applied for 4 schools. I got none of them. I'm getting shipped from Rosendale, from Mattapan or High Park. I'm going to Dorchester. I'm going to Southie. I'm going somewhere else. This is my fourth city budget with BPS, and every year we talk about people putting for sale signs up, going to Norwood, going to Walpole, going to wherever, because they don't want to deal with this every year. And when I first started knocking doors, the first time I ever ran, everybody who had kids said the same thing to me. Please, for the love of God, just get me from K to 6, and I'll figure it out. If my kid's smart enough to get into an exam school, he'll go or she'll go. If we want to send him to a Catholic school or private school, we'll do it. But can you just get me to 6th grade? And every year, I still say the same thing to the people who call on the phone. And your staff is awesome. Carolyn McNeil and Robbie Now, they've been so responsible and so respectful of our requests. But they're just that. They're requests. I mean, I might as well roll them up and throw them into the recycle bin because you can't do anything with them. So I want to get further into that at a later date. So be prepared to answer that one. Two, the ELT, a lot of the schools aren't big fans. Is there an opt-out for ELT, or is everybody doing this?
It's a contractual agreement with BTU. So everyone is doing it in the 59 schools that were part of the original agreement.
Okay. All right, so that's so no opt-out. Gotcha. Plan for grade levels, 7 through 12, K through 6, K through 8. Where are we with that?
Yep. So, Council.
And I know this wasn't your creation, but we have to fix it.
I want to say a couple of things around grade configurations. We have 24 grade configurations. We need fewer. Yes, we're hearing the same things. We need more seats in some neighborhoods. There is a demand. And all that is part of the master planning process. The K6, 7, 12 grade configuration is one transition, and many of our parents transition 2, 3, 4 times from K to 12. So we want to create a more coherent school system. We've started that process of planning for this, and our goal is over the next 3-5 years to get more coherence into the school system. That will happen.
Okay, thanks. You're not looking at me this early, is he? All right. I'm shooting. I'm going right along. Transportation, you guys know, really the thorn in my side. Last year, we talked about a study regarding saving $10 million. Is there an actual document with that? Where are we with that, with the professionals that we hired? Did we hire anybody? Or is this an internal study that we did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a lot of information on transportation. I'm happy to go into it now.
Yep.
I can.
No, I'll
I've got
hit you up.
numbers.
I'll talk about that because
Great.
I also want to talk about the land in Reedville to begin with, like who owns it and the lease and all that stuff. I don't know if we own it or the bus company owns that. Do we know?
Do you know who owns that one, Nate?
We don't.
No, do you know? Great.
Yeah. See, because my thought is we talk about transportation here an awful lot.
Yeah.
And it seems like the suburbs go out to the suburbs, they enjoy their lives, and then during work days, they come in here and flood us with cars and everything else. I would like to flood them with buses. Like, I think we should move these yards and put them in Milton and put them in Dedham and put them wherever. Because if I run for senator or something, I'll never win those towns now because I just said that, but that's okay. Push them out of city and let them come in because Reedville, as Robbie knows, literally, you can't get any farther away from downtown than where I live. You can't. So I think we should probably save some money and move some of these bus yards out of the city and have them just drive into the city like everybody else does. Just a thought. And then my last question. I know there's some jurisdiction issues, and I'm not really clear about this, but the new mission and BCLA, there's a space issue going on. And it's getting a little bit nasty. So I think maybe we can have a sidebar and just kind of talk about it and see how we're going to put that to bed before it becomes a major issue for everybody. Okay, Mr. Chair, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Baker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everyone. Can we talk a little bit about the advanced work and the Excellence for All? So does Excellence for All mean that we're going to be phasing out the advanced work?
Absolutely not. The 13 programs for Excellence for All this year were 4th grade classrooms solely in 13 schools. 3 of those schools had previously had advanced work class, and the school communities made the decision to go to Excellence for All. I believe those were the Curley, the Edison, and the Bate. The 10 other schools never did have advanced work class, and they brought in Excellence for All at 4th grade for this year. As we move into next year, it will be those 13 schools moving from 4th grade to 5th grade. We're adding a grade, basically, and that will continue on for 3 years until those 13 schools have rigorous instruction and enrichment at 4th through 6th grade for all students.
So the Excellence for All isn't a new class. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. 7. the curriculum.
That's correct. It's a change in the curriculum, the more enrichment, more professional development for teachers. That's what it is.
So it's not, now they'll have advanced work.
For yes,
Thank you, buddy. Sorry.
yeah, exactly. In those schools, in 3 of those schools, the Edison, the Bates, and the Curley, they would have rigorous instruction for all 4th through 6th graders by the end of the following school year. For the 10 schools, they never had advanced work class. These were schools that were just general education.
Okay, so that's where the Excellence for All is going to go into the schools that never had advanced work.
That's correct.
So advanced work will be standalone, and those programs will continue into the future. Or what do you see with those?
In the vast majority of our advanced work classes, they reside in schools where 4th through 6th graders are separated. There are students who are in advanced work, and there are students who are in general education. For example, the Murphy, the Lee School, they have such models. Our hope is that as we are becoming more inclusive in our practices, so we are not separating students from 4th through 6th grade in these sort of settings. However, this has to be done in partnership with schools, school communities. We need to make sure that there is the capacity in all the schools to be able to serve all students in an inclusive setting. That's why that investment was made in those 10 schools.
Okay, so in 8 years, is advanced work a thing of the past?
I do hope that we do get to a point where all 4th through 6th graders in this city are getting rigorous instruction and getting enrichment. I hope that is the goal.
But what happens, because there are kids that are at a higher level of learning, and then the kids that are at the lower level of learning, and they're in the same class.
I'm a believer, like, all students have assets, and we got to figure out how we help all our students, even those who may be academically struggling, those who may be having behavioral issues, how we help them, how we help them intersect with the curriculum and with the learning process. So we're making a big investment right now in universal design learning. Universal design learning is a philosophy that you can design a learning experience in classrooms where every student, no matter what their strengths may be, finds a way to enter into the learning process. And so that takes time. It takes a lot of training. It takes a lot of curriculum development. But that is our goal. Our goal is to have more inclusive classrooms.
So universal design of learning, does that have anything to do with the facilities plan and what our, because I've listened to the mayor speak a couple times about the investment in the next 10 years, $1 billion in the next 10 years.
Correct.
And he talks about, and it sounds great. And I believe it can work. So the design of building, we're going to look at classrooms differently. So maybe we're not all standing in rows. Is that something like?
You're absolutely right, Counselor. Many of our classrooms do have kind of the traditional setup where the students are lined up in rows. And some students flourish in that environment. Other students don't. And so we hope to have more flexible use of furniture. Our initial $13 million worth of capital investments in Build BPS will be to furniture and technology that will support more inclusive settings.
Okay. Are we gonna have a hearing on the facilities plan, or not really?
Yeah, well, there's hearings around capital projects.
Okay.
Capital,
So we can get into that then. Can you talk a little bit about the it's 1.3 million going into new vocational? Is that just that 1.3 going to English and EMK for those 2 programs that you had talked about?
That is correct. We have a weight in our weighted student funding that gives an additional $1 for every student who's participating in a vocational program. And so it's based on the additional number of students who will be served in those programs. And again, as Dr. Chang said earlier, Both schools are officially part of Chapter 74 at the state level, which designates them as vocational programs.
Okay, and what about, we talked about Brighton High School, how are we gonna, was that gonna be part of a vocational pathway also, or?
There's currently a vocational program at Bryan High School, but don't believe it's Chapter 74 approved. Is that right? It's not, right?
Okay.
But what we do hope is over time, because it is a pretty extensive process, that we can create pathways to the school that are also approved by the CVTE process that will make them Chapter 74.
Okay, and are we having talks at all internally about maybe a broader vocational discussion? Because if anybody's doing work in the city, they know how difficult it is to find anybody. What's the investment in, what does Madison Park look like in the next couple of years? Is there investment there? Are we in that electrical program over there? I know people that teach there, and I know they're trying to connect students on with the same sort of job placement. Are we looking at Madison Park in that light, or are we also looking at places like South Boston High, like maybe bring 2 vocational classes over there? And what's the thought in the next 3, 4, 5 years?
So we started this year a pretty extensive ongoing process to evaluate all our vocational programs throughout the system, whether they are Chapter 74 programs or non-Chapter 74 programs. We do have a lot of overlap in our programming. Visual design is a very popular pathway. You have them at about 10 different schools.
Is that like graphic design on a computer?
But we're missing pathways such as biotechnology. We don't have a biotechnology pathway. So
where would that go?
We don't have a place for it, but it is a pathway we think is critical to create in Boston Public Schools.
So would that be Dearborn when the Dearborn is built out?
We don't know at this time, but
Okay.
we do have a person that works with Dr. Donna Muncy, our Deputy Superintendent of Strategy. Her name is Michelle Savaria. She works closely with Kevin McCaskill. Those are 2 leads on CVTE programming in Boston Public Schools as a system.
CVTE is what?
Career Vocational Technical Education.
Okay.
So the overall, so we will have a strategy that will bring this sort of programming to vast majority of our high schools. Again, I believe in this intersection between career technical education and academics.
Yeah.
Our high schools of the future need to be able to provide programming for our students that do both things.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Counselor Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you guys for all your hard work. Great to see you again, and I look forward to this long process with you over the lovely summer. I just have some big questions, and other questions I'll leave for when we get into actual specific subject matters. But I share Councilor McCarthy's concerns about transportation, and frankly, how are we going to blow that budget up, because it's just frankly too much when you think about the needs that our schools are constantly calling us about. It's not sustainable. And frankly, even though we had that $10 million, realize $5 million in savings, and then have hopefully to realize that second $5 million in savings, our transportation budget is still going up, and will probably continue to go up. And so what is the real strategy outside of cost avoidance measures to make sure that we do something drastic to actually reduce it? So I'll save that for the longer discussion when it comes to transportation. Also care about that assignment process, specifically open seats at schools with waiting lists. I obviously represent District 4. I call it the schools of the tale of 2 cities almost. We have some really high-performing schools, some really low-performing schools that our students attend. And so obviously you have parents who get assigned to schools that they don't want to send their kids to because they just don't have a reputation of excellence, who are looking at other schools, even if it's outside their neighborhood, that have open seats but waiting lists. And so it's a frustrating conversation to explain why they can't get into those schools. And so I share what Councilor McCarthy was saying, and look forward to a conversation around that. Quick question about the ELT. So right now, not every school has extended learning time. So if a school does have it but doesn't want it, they can't opt out of it?
That's correct.
So even if we have a school that desperately wants it, they can't get it?
Well, the ELT agreement applies to all of our K-8 schools that are not autonomous. You know, in our lingo, we have a number of different categories of autonomous schools, whether they're Horace Mann charters or pilot or innovation, et cetera. So it applies to all of our quote unquote traditional schools. Does that answer your question?
It does. And the challenge with that is I have one school in my district that found sort of the loophole and took advantage of that loophole to actually get ELT while actually pursuing autonomy. And I said, good for them, because frankly, they win from both sides. They win from having some of that autonomy that they wanted, that their teachers wanted, and they also win from getting ELT. But I know that's an interesting story, and it's great to see them get it. But it's at some point there is tremendous value in ELT. We don't need another study or data set to tell us that kids that have ELT and early education and care and quality early education and care and so many other things do well as just a baseline. So I was just curious about that ELT option and knowing that there are schools who want it that can't necessarily get it and how that would work.
We did a review, and Dr. Muncy, please correct me if I've got these numbers wrong, but I think all but one or two of our autonomous schools also have an extended day. So with the implementation, we will have almost near complete coverage of every K-8 school.
Okay. And if we wanted to obviously revisit this to open it up for more schools, it's going back to the collective bargaining table. Like we can't unilaterally do this ourselves.
You mean for the agreement to cover the autonomous schools as well?
To cover more schools that want it, that currently aren't defined in those 50 plus schools.
Sorry if I wasn't clear. The autonomous schools currently have a long school day. They have different pay agreements. It's a legacy of lots of different agreements built up over time. So we are going to get to almost complete coverage with the exception, I think, of one or two schools maybe that have elected not to, who are autonomous schools. So with the rollout next year, we will be there, is our impression. If I'm misunderstanding you, let me know.
Well, I can dig into this later on. I guess the question then becomes, is there a difference between a school that has extended learning time and then those who have the autonomy structure, who get it through that model, if there's a difference in what they get from those models? And I think there might be. And so that's a different question because I may be an autonomous school and not get this, but I get something different than that school.
Yeah, the different classifications are Horace Mann charters or in-district charters have more autonomy over how they can structure their teacher compensation in school day. Our pilot school agreement, which came in the early 90s, allows for both an extended day and a more professional development time in the allotted to us at a very favorable rate. So it's all about the compensation rate for the number of hours that we have. And so the pilot school agreement has a different structure that says that the first 90 hours are sort of free to the district. Then from 90 to 135, I believe, are paid for by the central office. And then anything beyond that can be paid by the school at a specific rate. Innovation schools tended to come in at the same rates as what we did with our original cohort of turnaround schools, which was an agreement through the Joint Resolution Committee that we went through and had a specific compensation rate. And then the final class of extended learning time came in with the Schedule A schools, which was a negotiated rate, and it's different from the other two.
So this could cost schools different levels of money out of their budgets for these different.
No, the extended learning time primarily is paid for centrally, so it's not paid for by school budgets.
But if you're in an autonomous school, so one of those classifications, and not in the ELT that's paid for by the central office, you could be paying more out of your individual school budget for the autonomy, which includes extended day.
Sure. There's two cases in which we would see an autonomous school pay out of their budget. The majority is if they went to extend the day even beyond what we had negotiated, which would make their day significantly longer than what we're doing in Schedule A. The other is at the Boston Teachers Union School, they have a separate election of work agreement where they compensate their teachers for the uncompensated time that we see at other pilot schools, as that's part of their original pilot school agreement.
topic for another discussion, but I'd love to know how it sort of shows up in different schools, extended learning time, extended learning day, depending on whether it's coming through your autonomy structure or through the ELT contract, just how it might show up. I think that'd be interesting to know. I just had a couple quick questions. One is on this sheet here, this handout. Do you guys have this?
Mm-hmm.
It's a quality full day kindergarten. It's saying it's about 1.8 million.
Yep.
It's zeroed out.
Yes.
Can you explain that?
Over the summer, we got the news that the state had discontinued our funding on that, and we picked up the difference this year. That was made possible in part by the fact that we had gotten good news in some of our other sources of external funds, namely Title I.
So this 1.8 was from the state, gets
Yeah.
cut, and so this has been put somewhere else in the budget?
Yes.
Where was it put?
It was moved on to general fund dollars, and
Okay.
those are grants and allocations that are directly to specifically our early education centers and early learning centers. So when you look at their all funds budget from year to year, you'll see a consistent amount.
And I
This is funded so that cut 1.8
yeah.
was put back in at 1.8?
Yeah, and I think
Oh,
this is a prime
okay.
example of
Yep.
this. You keep hearing myself and Dave Sweeney and Katie Hammer just hitting on this point over and over again. The
Yeah.
state failed to come through with funding that we were expecting, and the city once again is filling the void.
Right.
I know we're a little bit of a broken record on it, and there's lots of discussion we can have about the BPS budget and whatnot, but the city does continue to pick up the slack when we lose funding from the state.
No, and that's a real concern
Yeah.
for BPS and other
Yes.
departments, so you're exactly right.
Yeah.
Just a couple more questions. One is the level 3, level 4, level 5.
Yeah.
What is that sort of investment that you're making? Big picture, what does that look like?
We've
Where you're
created,
focusing and targeting just those schools?
yep, we've created a reserve that our instructional superintendents are partnering with our budget team. We're reaching out to the schools who are losing enrollment and asking them about the supports that they need, reviewing their requests, and then partnering with them to make sure they have what they need. I'm going to talk to this a little bit more in our next hearing, but we had a lot of concerns raised about this issue in our school committee process, and we really looked at it with a lot of care. There are 15 schools in particular that we were worried about that were low level 3, level 4, level 5 schools that had budgets declining. They collectively lost about $4 million, and we went and studied, well, what were those $4 million paying for? And about 3/4 of it was classroom capacity that they didn't need anymore because they had fewer students. But there was about 1/4 of that money that was for the discretionary things that would have supported the school overall. And that's why we implemented and adjusted our proposal to add the reserve so that we could make sure that we were supporting them as they had those supports and enrichments that are part of what schools should have. The funds are being focused in particular on Brighton and Excel, but we're running a process right now that invites all level 3, 4, and 5 schools with a declining enrollment to participate. And we have some of my colleagues who've been running that process in the audience if you want to hear more.
We can do it in the
Great.
future, but just big picture, there's 15 schools.
15
You've
schools.
identified this
Yep.
1.25 million to be dedicated to them, specifically looking at Brighton and Excel and what can be done there.
Exactly.
So look forward to that conversation because
Yep.
I have some of those schools.
Yeah.
And then lastly, this is on page of this presentation. On page 13, which I think the numbers stop, but the page after 12. Can you, so this is a weighted student formula. Actually, before we even get to that page, on the school budget breakdown that you have here, the 63%, this 63% is going to directly to schools in that in its entirety?
Well, the shaded light orange, which is benefits,
Yep.
a school leader would not see that appear on their budget, but it is paying for the staff that are on their budgets.
Okay. And the 63%, what does that, that's 537 million.
The 63% is the 537 plus the 112 plus that teeny sliver is ELT.
So So 537 less 112, that
No,
is, okay.
Plus,
Plus is going to schools, but the schools won't see that
the
112.
schools directly see the 537.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
And then lastly, my question is weighted student formula.
Mm-hmm.
And on slide 13, when you talk about, and this is my last question, thank you. I got the I. So obviously BPS allocates 45% of its budget through weighted student formula, but there's an additional 8% through other rule-based allocations. What is that?
We have a series of other things that go to schools in a formula that aren't technically part of WSF. So for instance,
Okay.
nurses,
Okay.
or a position we call COSIS, who support special education. And we have what's called an allocation tracker that looks like this, sits on our website, and tracks every single dollar that goes to a school, and you can see where it comes from and why it goes there. So this is what we're talking about when we say equity and transparency. And you can, I'm happy to take you through all the things that happen outside of WSF.
I imagine at some point there'll be a deeper discussion into the weighted student formula at some point. Okay,
That'll be in our next hearing.
thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Cioma.
I'm just going to tick through a couple of quick things. First and foremost, the transportation has come up a lot, obviously, which we'll get into in its own separate hearing. But I would like to acknowledge the work of John Steckety, who's not here today. He's got a very difficult job, and I just wanted to acknowledge him, as well as Rob and Carolyn McNeil, who have been extremely responsive. When we changed the student assignment, and I'm not looking for answers necessarily right now, when we changed the student assignment process to be more conducive to walk zones, we knew that there might not be savings right away. But as I'm tracking enrollment just in my district, I'm seeing a real transformation in enrollment numbers. Schools that were formerly 50-50 schools are now 85% in those first 3 grades. When will we reap the rewards of having schools or families closer to the schools they attend? So, and again, we have a transportation hearing. Just want to understand, because we should be reaping some rewards. And I know logistically it's really difficult, but I don't see any reduction in buses. Will we ever see that? Question one. We got into a little bit with weighted student formula. And I believe, according to your numbers, out of the 125 schools, like 70-something, 80-something, actually budgets go up. So, a third or less budgets go down, one of them being the Winship in my district, if not more. I think it was like $83,000 cut. First, let me preface this by saying I believe in weighted student formula as a way to fund our budgets, the funds following the kids based on need and circumstances. I think that's good for equity and other issues. But I want to know what that actual effect of that $83,000 cut is going to be on the schools. One less teacher, one less aide, what is that cut? And then we talk a lot about level 1 through 5. I have many 3s and a 2 maybe. What is the difference between a 2 and a 3? How can we get our 3s to 2 in a strategic way? And what is that going to take for us to get there? Because I think when we get there, especially in my district's kind of isolated in a lot of ways, right? We're connected to the Boston proper and the rest of Boston by Comm Ave, and geographically, we've always been kind of out there. So I really want to know when we can expect the strategy that really targets level 3s to level 2s. And then I'll pass it on to my good colleague, Councilor Asabi George.
No answers?
No, I just want,
Food for thought.
I'll ask them when we have those here.
Thank you again. So I have some questions about schools with declining enrollment. What are we doing? I guess and schools with declining enrollment receive the soft landing funds, true or untrue? Or some of them do?
There were no soft landings specifically for declining enrollment this year, but they will be receiving supports through the level 3-4 allocation.
So I guess, can you just remind me then what a soft landing, what are soft landings for?
Yeah, so soft landings for when we implemented WSF here at BPS, that was a lot of acronyms. We instituted specific rules-based allocations to schools who are experiencing changes in policy. And what that means is if in the change to weighted student funding, a school saw a decrease in funding by X amount, we restored 25% of that. So it was a very straightforward formula for saying you lost 100,000, you're going to get 25K back as a way to ease the transition into the new model. We did soft landings for 3 or 4 years out of the first couple years. And anytime we've made adjustments to policies, we've evaluated whether or not we want to do that. Straight formulaic soft landing as a way to transition. The other way that we might give money to schools that are experiencing cuts is through either programmatic supports, sustainability allocations, which are funding given to schools that can't afford their sort of core operating expenses, and then the level of 3-4 supports that we're talking about this year in terms of sustainability or a programmatic support to a school. So that's why when you said soft landings, it's a very specific thing for me.
So we do soft landings. And are there any schools that have received soft landing support or the sustainability allocations for multiple years?
So in terms of soft landings for this year, we have one soft landing that's based on Title I, and each shift in Title I allocations that went to one school, Greater Eggleston. For sustainability allocations, we do have a number of schools that receive sustainability allocations. I don't have the number of schools that received
8 or 9
it.
of them.
Yeah, there's 8 or 9 of them. I don't know how many of those schools have received it multiple years, but I can certainly get that.
Because I'm curious about making sure that we're doing something else other than just putting cash into schools. Obviously, that's important for whatever the pending school year is, but anything that's a repeat, there's something else going on at that school.
Yeah. We have 10 schools who did receive the sustainability allocations for an amount totaling $1.3 million.
But you don't know if any of those are repeats. I'm curious. Maybe when we get into our next budget one,
I just don't have
you
it
have
at
to
my
pull it up
fingertips.
now. That's fine. And it sort of ties into my follow-up question: is do we know what schools are at capacity and what schools or what the percentage of schools are that are at capacity? But then more specifically, what are the number of classrooms that are at capacity?
Yes, this year, thanks to Nate and his team, Nate has recently taken over responsibility for our projections process. We have much better data now that tells us about utilization at the classroom level. So we do have that data now.
What's the percentage of schools that are at capacity, and what's the percentage of classrooms that are at capacity?
We would be happy to take a look at that.
Okay.
And get back to you.
Because then I want to understand, or I think that it would be helpful for us to understand why schools are at capacity or not at capacity.
Yeah.
And why there are shifts in populations. Is it the grade configuration problem? Is it there's a local charter school? Is it there's been a significant change at that school, like the pending loss of advanced work, or a neighboring school has added excellence for all, or something like that? So I think it's really important to understand both anecdotally, but also have the data back up why kids are either leaving or not, or families are leaving or not selecting a particular school, because I think that helps us make better decisions for all of our school communities going forward. Do we look at that data at all? Have we sort of done any exit surveys or something like that? Yes.
Yeah, so we're there's a couple different ways that we're thinking about it exactly the way that you're mentioning it. In looking at program designs of specific schools. So we did a design workshop with the schools in East Boston to talk about how they're structured and where we see challenges in the way that students flow throughout the school. So a very simple example that we've talked a lot about is in a school where they have a single strand program for ELL students. The students should be exiting that program as they progress in their language development. And so if you have one classroom in K2, one classroom in grade 1, by grades 2 and 3, kids are leaving that program and moving into the gen ed setting. There's not a lot of influx of students in those grades to then backfill those classrooms. So we start to see classrooms in East Boston where we have a huge premium for space, half full or 3/4 full. And so we're starting to think with those schools about how we might design or configure each of the schools in concert as a neighborhood or as a pairing schools together to get better utilization. And then there are always the places where we see external factors like charter schools opening up that then cause a one-time shift in the enrollment patterns of those schools. We've done a better job of collecting historical enrollment patterns across the schools to evaluate, is this something that is a one-time challenge that a school is experiencing and then we expect it to stabilize, or is this a multi-year pattern of a school struggling? And there's so many different ways in which a school can be either set up to compete against charter schools, or in some of our schools in South Boston, we see challenges with the home-based plan and it leading to not enough families selecting the school or having the ability to select the school. And then in Allston Brighton, there were a number of changes this year, including the Jackson Man, and just sort of thinking smartly about how we can evaluate space, classroom space, and then enrollment patterns. And there's sort of a big, hairy system here in Boston that we're getting better data on.
Well, speaking of that system and mentioning South Boston, as you all know, my kids go to the Perry. It has a assignment problem with the waterfront, as does the BTU school with cemeteries surrounding it. Have we fixed that?
We did make a change to what we call our option school policy for this year. And the option schools are in the student assignment plan, you're guaranteed a number of tier 1 schools, tier 2 schools, tier 3 schools. And then what we call option schools, which are schools where we think we have available either catchment area issues or there's space so that more families can choose those schools. Both the BTU school and the Perry school were designated as option schools this year because of small catchment areas. What we found, the student assignment plan is a function of your status as a school, either option or tier, and then the number of schools in the area. And because the Tynan, Blackstone, and the Perkins are closer to
Condon.
No, I'm talking about the Condon is a level 1 school, highly chosen, is right in the middle of South Boston, but it's the Blackstone that actually causes problems for the Perry because families that live on the west side of South Boston end up getting the Blackstone as an option because it's closer than the Perry as an option, just the way the algorithm, because it's a straight line. And so, as I mentioned, it's a pretty complicated system. There were some things that we thought were going to solve the problems at the Perry. And then when we go to implementation, we see that it didn't actually add that many families to the list to choose it in K1 or K2, the entry level grades, because of the number of schools that are in the central part of the city that you're actually closer to if you live on the western side of Southie.
Now, is the Blackstone in that sort of scenario, is the Blackstone a school that has wait lists or open seats, or is that I feel like that's a highly chosen school.
It's a big school, and
Yeah.
there are a lot of families that can choose it. So I think there's a lot of people who do choose it, but there are, it is a school where you can have a pretty good chance of getting in through rounds 1 and 2 in the assignment plan. I can get the exact numbers in terms of wait lists for the schools, but
I'm curious how we can go about fixing this with some incremental changes, because I think sometimes that's all we need. Now, talking about families leaving the district, not choosing the district, I'm a huge proponent of AWC. I think it's great that we're adding Excellence for All. My kids have been invited to AWC, but have been waitlisted, never actually sat in an AWC seat. But I'm a huge proponent of it. And to hear that there are steps to have it disappear over time and be replaced with Excellence for All is a problem for me. And I think that we could extend that conversation to advanced work or advanced placement classes in high school, honors programs in high schools, heck, the exam schools, the 3 exam schools in the city of Boston, or the Arts Academy, which requires an application process. I think we have to give opportunities to families for differentiated learning experiences for their kids. And I know Counselor Baker brought it up in his round of questioning, and it's a concern of mine and a significant concern to hear that we're looking to replace advanced work classrooms over time for excellence for all. Now, can you just, Superintendent, remind
If
me
I may
of,
just correct, we didn't say we were going to replace AWC.
I guess you didn't say it
it
clearly. You, if Counselor Baker
Can I
asked,
weigh in? It
please.
didn't really sound clear to me, but it seems like, to me, my opinion, the pathway is towards phasing it out. That's the way I took the.
I heard that you were looking for every classroom for every kid, and I certainly support inclusion in all of our classrooms, but advanced work is a track, I'll call it a track, that we need to, I think, support over time as a district. So I guess if you want to articulate for me or re-articulate clearer for me, so I understand where you think, whether it's 4 years, 8 years, or 12 years down the road, where do advanced work classrooms exist in the city of Boston?
I think it's critical to underscore that currently we have a system where you have 10% of students in Boston Public Schools 4th through 6th grade. This, I should say, prior to Excellence for All, you had 10% of Boston Public School students that went to advanced work class and 90% that went to general education. Of the 10% that went to, if you look at the difference in demographics, it's very cut along racial, cultural, linguistic lines, socioeconomic lines. Our goal with Excellence for All is to provide more inclusive settings in all our schools where parents are going to want to send their kids because they believe it's a very rich curriculum, it's rigorous, and there's a lot of enrichment. Now, I've had many parents come to me and say, I'm actually not choosing to go to advanced work class for my child. I want to keep my child in his or her current school because we know 4th through 6th grade will be as rigorous as an advanced work class. That's a choice that parent is making. If parents still continue to choose to move their kids after 3rd grade to advanced work class, if there is that demand, then we will continue offering advanced work class. But all I'm saying is that if we raise the rigor and provide more learning opportunities for students across the system, maybe parents wouldn't have to move their child into an AWC class. But ultimately, this is going to be driven by the quality of programming that we can provide and then parent choice. That's why I can't answer at this time whether there will be an advanced work class in 8 years from now. I don't think that's a fair thing for me to answer.
So could you just tell me, and then I'll stop for now. Tell me just, I know you mentioned it before, how many Excellence for All classrooms do we have in the district?
We have 13 Excellence for All 4th grade classrooms, and we will have 13 Excellence for All 5th grade classrooms
And
next
then
year.
how many advanced work classrooms do we have currently?
I might need to get some assistance on that. Does anybody have how many AWC programs we have currently?
Give us a minute. I'm sure we can pull it up in the
We'll
next
get-
few minutes.
And then my follow-up question will be, how many are we going to have in the coming school year? And then I've heard conversations about some schools already notifying parents that have been accepted to the upcoming school year advanced work, that classroom after school year 17-18 will go to Excellence for All.
We have the same number of AWC programs and classrooms this year as we had last year. We're not making
I'm
changes.
asking what we'll have next year. Will we still have the year after?
We don't have any plans of making any changes.
Okay, so I'll wait. Do you have those numbers? I'm sorry.
I'll get them in.
Fine, perfect. I'll save my rest for round 3.
Counselor Jackson.
Thank you so much. So since we're top line, is at what point were we going to discuss the 50 Boston Public Schools that are losing funding? I think that's significant that for our body to know. Is that an accurate number?
So the next hearing, the subject is school budgets. We have data here. We'd be happy to talk about it now as well.
Well, I think it's important, since we're 30,000 feet,
Yep.
to have 50 of our 124, 125 schools losing funding. I think that's something that all of the counselors should know going in, and in particular for those who are district counselors, for people to understand that this budget is actually going to affect a significant number of schools, possibly above 40% of schools in the district.
I believe the number 50 came from a table that was released on February 1st at the start of our process with the school committee. A couple of things have changed since then. Normal course of doing business over this period, we're releasing reserves to schools, which increases the money on their budgets. I think the table that you were looking at was WSF only, and there are the other allocations to schools on top of WSF. So when you pull those things together, it's something around 90. When you fully load everything that a school would be getting, both WSF, other rules-based allocations that appear on their budgets, and ELT, the funding to schools increases at 96 of our schools.
But that's not accurate, because when you add, ELT is a new program, right?
That's correct.
So if you add ELT in, it doesn't allow us from year to year to determine if there's an actual increase in the word that you used earlier around maintenance budget, right? So the issue here is that if you have an already underfunded school that may not have the supplies that it needs, that you now have a young person spending an additional 40 minutes in, is that a good thing? So can we back that?
Yep.
I think that's just the.
We can do it without ELT, certainly.
I just think, and this will be my last budget cycle in this way. I think it's important that we actually use what we've used in the past. I don't know, and I don't know what the conversation has been with the chair, but at least for me, as chair of education, we've always looked at numbers in a specific way. And so this methodology change doesn't allow us to understand, because I'll tell you what happens to us. When you guys will say 96% of schools are all set, and we're all going to get calls from parents and schools that were cut. So I think we need to understand the very real truth relative to what year over year, is it 49 schools are getting cut? And this may not, you may not have this data, but I think it's important that the council understand the number of schools net year over year that are getting cut with prior to the new programs being added in, because that distorts whether or not that school actually is receiving additional funding or not.
We would certainly be happy to provide the full table updated based on the school committee vote from March 22nd with all the funds, so you can see with and without ELT. That's no problem.
So what did it say?
The total number of schools that see, if you look at the all funds budget on the school level, the total number of schools with declining budgets was 49. That does include the former Mattahunt school. And so that's the just schools that would look at their total budget and see it go down.
Yes.
In a very simple case. You will get calls from families and from parents who are saying things are being cut from my school even when the budgets go up, because principals are making school level decisions to change from art to music. I remember from last year we had a school community who was upset about the loss of a music teacher, but it was because they were deciding to hire an art teacher instead.
And it's my contention that every single school in the Boston Public Schools should both have art and music. It shouldn't be an or, it should be an and our young people deserve that. And that's actually why I believe that this budget is underfunded. I also want to note, it was brought up earlier that the Opportunity and Achievement Gap Task Force actually opposed this budget. They spoke on record as opposing this budget as it stood. I think it's important for us to drill down on a topic that we had to deal with 2 years ago. I haven't heard any conversation about adult education, and I'm told that has been cut. So it's not actually top line. Adult education in the city of Boston has existed for over 140 years. It's a critical component. Most of the individuals who are part of the program have children in the schools, and most of them are many of them are individuals who need access to second language opportunities. So I think it's really important that English language learners, and in a city that we are speaking about sanctuary status and things of that sort, that we're actually consistent across the board relative to those components. So can I get an understanding of where we are with adult education?
With the adult education department, the current all funds budget is increasing by 35,000, which is a roughly 3% increase. There are not plans to decrease funding to adult education in this budget.
Okay, what's the budget?
The total budget in the adult education department is 1.1 million.
1.1 million, plus the 35K.
Sorry, that's inclusive of the 35K.
Okay. And I think it's also important to look at Brighton High School as well as Excel. So what percentage of teachers were rehired, and what are the demographic data of those teachers?
We'll have that information for you, but it's important to know that we are just at the very beginning of our hiring process for Brighton High School.
Okay. Because I'm very worried so far because my understanding is that very few teachers of color have been rehired, and we'll drill back to the diversity component, and we will have those, and look forward to having that data so that we have an understanding. And I would love for you to break that out. I'd also like to get an understanding of what type of financial supports that both of those school communities will be receiving to help them in their turnaround status, because we've had conversations that we obviously don't want to lose any more schools to the state. So is there a financial component attached to both of those schools?
So let me start off by saying we will absolutely provide the data on the demographics of the restaffing process, or teachers who come back to Brighton High School will have that available. We'll also have that available for Excel as well. As I said, we are in the very beginning of the process, but I'm very optimistic that we will have a more diverse Brighton High School staff for next year. I did ask for the pool, like the teachers who are being considered. About 60% of teachers who are being considered who are in the applicant pool are teachers of color. So we've been very targeted in our outreach for diverse candidates for those schools. But we will have that data for you once the restaffing is completed. In terms of financial support,
We have financial data available now. Would you like us to go into it now, or do you want to hold it for our next hearing?
Can I if you can actually get it to us for next week? If you could get it to my office before, that would be actually very helpful.
Sure thing.
And then I guess the other couple of areas that I did want to touch on, we need the truth. So when you bring us data about transportation, and we all questioned it last year because we've all been here and we know that you're not going to save $10 million in a year. So it's not okay to come back and say, hey, we meant 2 years. You passed in your homework and now you come back and say, no, that's not what we wanted to submit. So I just think in terms of the integrity of the budget process, it's a lot of money, right? And so we knew that the savings, and I think I can't speak for my colleagues, but I know the chair as well as my vice chair actually questioned that component. And now we're back this year, and we're actually asking to increase the transportation budget. So I just think that it is critical that we have accurate data in front of us, and when we question this and drill down, and then now we come back and we know that you did not save $10 million in that one calendar year. That is problematic in terms of the integrity of this process. And I think I won't sit in this seat to ask that question, next year, but I think it's really important that we have accurate data relative to what's going on. And by the way, we also know that you get hurt by the number of charter school seats, right? So when that number goes up, that also means that your transportation budget is probably going to go up, and we're not receiving the reimbursement that we should receive. We need to be able to compute that in terms of the calculations that we have. And again, there's no blame there. We understand that's how it actually works. So, but we need, in terms of our budgeting process, to be able to have that understanding. I guess the one other. Yep.
Do you mind if I respond to that?
Yes. Yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, Counselor, but there are a few things that would matter more than the integrity of the process here and our honesty. We take this exceptionally seriously. I think we had a pretty frank conversation last year about the fact that we were setting a very aggressive target for the transportation department. I am proud that we're going to hit it, and I'm proud that we're going to hit it even though it's going to take us 2 years. Nate sometimes says we should be calling our transportation line our equity line of our budget, because it is how we think about what schools our students have access to. And what we sat up here and said last year was that we were trying to wring every possible savings out of the transportation before we changed student assignment policies. And to be able to save $10 million without changing what services we offer to families, I think is a real accomplishment. Of course, I wish we had accomplished it in our first year, but if I think we're going to be able to accomplish it we'll know by September that we're on track to hit it. But without having to make any changes to the student assignment is an accomplishment.
But we sat and we were, and you weren't here at the time, and neither was the superintendent. We knew that it was in year 7, because there's grandfathering in this process. It wasn't until year 7 that there was going to be a 10%, I think it was about $9 million at the time, right? So what we've seen over the course of that time is we've seen the budget go up.
Yeah.
And that quote unquote savings go down below 10%. So the reason why this is significant is because we knew that you weren't going to save it. And we brought it up last year. And a goal is not, hitting a goal actually is not successful if it takes an additional year. Goals are measurable, and they actually have a time frame attached to them. So I think that's important, and I think it's helpful for us to understand. By the way, let's unpack that. Most of the budget that you have to spend on transportation, you don't control. You are statutorily mandated to make sure that special education students are taken back and forth to school. You're statutorily mandated to make sure that charter school students are taken back and forth. So we just want accuracy here. I'm not, there's no blame there. I guess the one other component around transportation is the budget still does not include bus passes for all high school students, which when you speak about making decisions about where young people go to school, it is significant that many young people and families might even be making those decisions based on not the programmatic offerings, but how far that school is away from them so they can get a bus pass. And a reflection of bus passes for all high school students is actually not in here. Are there empty early ed seats? Because
what do you mean by early education?
Well, K0, K1. The reason why I'm bringing this up, like the Perry School, right? Mm-hmm. So this becomes an issue where if there are seats, and what I've had parents say to me, I'll take my child anywhere, mm-hmm. relative to getting them into an early education seat. And so a place like the Perry, where the computer sees the water as part of the catchment area, mm-hmm. And blocks people from getting in there. So my question is, are there seats that we're not using across the district that could actually mean that we would see a larger increase in early ed seats in the city of Boston next year?
I want to differentiate between two types of early education empty seats. The first are those that we hold available for unidentified special education students, and this is particularly prevalent at the K0 level. we have an obligation to go and find students who will be identified at 3 years old for special education and have a seat available for them. This also exists in some of our inclusion classrooms where families see an empty seat and get frustrated by an empty seat, but it's for a student who may be identified as requiring an inclusion classroom in March or April, and we need to have those classrooms available. The second part is available classrooms, K-1 general education seats throughout the district. We've done a better job of filling K-1 classrooms. As Eleanor mentioned, we're going to serve 100 more students next year in K-1 that we're anticipating. And that is a greater number than the number of K-1 seats we've added, which shows that we're doing a better job of placing classrooms where students are demanding them. And the final comment I'll just make about the parents who are willing to drive their kid to a K-1 seat that is not necessarily in the catchment area, that tends to be skewed to higher income and a less racially diverse group. And so when we think about giving students access to K-1 classrooms that are not, quote unquote, on their list, there's some pretty serious equity implications that that would have to come into play. And I don't think that should be our strategy. We should think better about making sure that the students who are in the neighborhoods where there are available K-1 seats, figuring out why they're not accessing those seats.
But I think the issue is that in addition to the additional funding that you're putting forward, if there is a classroom that has empty seats and there are children who are seeking those seats, we are failing those families by not connecting them, and we need to be smarter and more nimble in allowing that allowing for there to be a connection there. And I understand around the kind of class strata there, but what I would say is those families deserve to have an opportunity to, and they want to be part of the Boston Public Schools. Councilor McCarthy was just speaking about people leaving the district. So these are parents who want, and we know that there's high demand at K-1. And you're probably going to keep those families till fifth grade at least, right? So we got to figure this part out, right? Because there shouldn't be classrooms that don't have the requisite number of students in that area. We also know that the data shows you do better, right? So you do better with in terms of graduation rates and all kinds of other and persistence rates and things in that space.
I will just say our K-1 utilization rate is upwards of 96 or 97%. There's always some transitionary times where we have available seats before students can get assigned to them, but this is not an area where we have a lot of largely unutilized classrooms.
You have this reserve for level 3, 4, and 5, right? Which is I think helping out level 3s. I think a couple pieces. One, schools like the Curly, I think is an amazing level 3 school, and I think for many reasons, the best way to change level 3s, I believe, is for the state to change the way in which they calculate. I think Boston becomes disabled by the fact that Boston does great work in actually the change side of it, which only represents 25%, and the 75% is represented by achievement. It should be restructured such that it should be 50-50 because you're teaching people, right? So they should be getting better. And I think in many of the schools, if we were to rework the data, we would actually see, in particular for schools that have English language learners at high numbers, we would actually see many more Boston public schools actually elevate in that space. And I think there's great work that's happening in many of our schools, but based on that state data, we're not able to realize that. But I just want to note the McCormick School is losing $950,000. So the line that you have for $1.25 million, just that one school is losing $950,000, right? So how are those dollars going to be spent when we're actually, and by the way, there's some amazing teachers over there who are doing amazing work with young people who have many obstacles. So I guess I want to understand how is that funding gonna get allocated when you have one of the schools that could use, and I don't know of a BPS school that's sitting on an extra $1 million in some back room and that they aren't using.
Yeah, so the McCormick Middle School, I think we're seeing this across our traditional middle schools, that families are not choosing them as an option at the same rate that they have in the past. Part of this was our expansion of K-8s. Particularly the Condon was one of the schools that the expansion of K-8 for the Condon has greatly affected the number of students who are enrolling at the McCormick. And so part of the reduction at the McCormick is to get them to a size and structure that makes sense for them. And Counselor Sabi George, when you were mentioning how we're working with schools to think about utilization, one of the things that we want to do is work with schools to identify what is the right size. And at the McCormick, one of the things we did was we had put 5 cohorts of middle school students into their 6th grade one year. It turns out for scheduling purposes, 5 cohorts is a really bad number of classrooms to have. Because if you have 5 in 6th grade, 5 in 7th grade, 5 in 8th grade, you have 15, and the middle school schedule tends to work in numbers of 4. So you end up having a half a teacher or sort of this really inefficient schedule. And so working with the McCormick over a couple of years, we've kind of understood that we want to be at 4, 6, or 8 cohorts in their entry-level grades. And so some of this was being intentional about bringing the enrollment down so that they could eliminate a half teacher and make their schedule work more efficiently. And so the number of, when we mentioned earlier, for these schools that are experiencing declining enrollment, they may be losing classroom staff, which is disruptive and can be a difficult change for a principal to make. You have to let go of a teacher. You have to decide who's no longer going to be returning to your school. But it's not discretionary spending. You just have less classrooms. And so what we were looking at the level 3, 4, and 5 schools, we were trying to identify when is it that they lost the ability to have either an assistant principal in the case of the McCormick School, they've cut one of their assistant principals, or where have they lost contracted services dollars or supplies dollars, the problem you mentioned earlier. And so the McCormick is probably our biggest declining school. They have a large 8th grade cohort that will be leaving and going on to 9th grade next year, and is being backfilled with a 6th grade cohort that is much smaller. So that's why they're going to have to experience some right sizing of core classroom staff.
And the enrollment process is not only, this is not, it doesn't work in the same way that charters work, correct? So the enrollment, you have a centralized enrollment system. And so situations such as Madison Park, which when they were making some changes, there was an artificial basically pause in terms of their enrollment. So I think it's going to be important that we actually figure out this enrollment piece, and I think that's for another time. Last piece, Madison Park. What is in terms of the financial aspects? We heard of additional CVT funding that is going to other schools. Where are the increases that are happening to Madison Park Vocational Technical High School? Councilor Baker brought up the fact that it's hard to find a plumber right now. It's hard to find an electrician right now. A pipe fitter in the city of Boston makes $55 in their envelope, meaning that's what their take home is. These are really amazing opportunities for our young people. 1.4 million open jobs in computing by 2020. What's going on at Madison Park? Where are we at relative to the funding in this budget? And I'll be done.
We continue to support Madison Park well above a traditional WSF funding. If you look at the tables, it can appear at first glance that there's a $700,000 cut, but if you compare the proposed budget to where we were at this time last year, it's $100K, and that's due to enrollment shifts. So they do continue to have declining enrollment at Madison Park, and we are continuing to supplement their budget.
And I just think we do need to understand that they're running essentially 2 schools there, right? So there's an academic aspect of it, there's a vocational aspect of it, and frankly, we need to step our game up in this space. We have a huge market here in the city of Boston that should be connected to actual authentic work opportunities in that marketplace, and we are not meeting the actual market to help our young people, actually, as well as the end consumer on the other end of this, who are the businesses, get the talent. If we're having less young people go through the vocational school, then that means less young people are going to be actually graduating from the vocational school, and we will actually have a lower number of trained workers on the other end. We need to have that alignment in our public school system with the job market that's out there. Mr.
If
Chair.
I could take just a moment to just highlight the supplemental funding that Madison Park receives, because we agree and invest significantly in Madison Park over and above their weighted student funding. So Madison Park receives weighted student funding in the same allocation as any traditional high school would receive. In addition, all students that enroll in Madison Park receive an additional vocational weight equal to $4,100 per student. And then over and above that, Madison Park receives a programmatic supplement larger than any school at $1.8 million. So there is significant investments in Madison Park over what a traditional high school would receive. And I just want to take a moment to highlight that because it's, when we often talk about year-to-year changes in Madison Park, we're not seeing the whole picture about the investment in the school as a district.
If I may also highlight just two recent experiences I have had with Madison Park students. One this past Saturday, where Madison Park juniors and seniors were part of a service day in partnership with District Council 35, our union trade partners, where they are creating a feeder pattern to their apprenticeship program from Madison Park. And Herb Chambers is beginning an incredible partnership with us, and we are having our students now gain experiences in their auto tech spaces. So a lot of this work is the heavy lift of Kevin McCaskill, the executive director, in partnership with the central office. But there's great work that is being done at Madison Park. They will be moving into year 2 of their turnaround process. The commissioner in a recent visit actually publicly commended to his board the work that is being done now, and said that in all his years as the commissioner of Massachusetts, he's never seen the school move in a direction that it's moving in now. So a lot of props to Madison Park.
Props to them. I just think we have to ensure that we continue to support them, because that school should have never fallen to a level 4 school. So it's on us to ensure that they have the resources needed to make that happen. We owe it to those young people and the staff there.
Great. Council McCarthy.
Great relationship between Madison Park and Public Works with the body shop, painting, and that stuff. So important. And also the new print shop, which I just got wind of that. So I'd like to put in a plug for that, but also get a little more information on that, if you don't mind, because I would. It's an election year. I would love to have them do some of my stuff if that's possible or legal. We'll figure that out later.
You don't look good in orange.
Yeah, no. Orange is not the new McCarthy. I can tell you that much. My first question is about the teachers pool. Can you tell me how many teachers are in that pool and how much are we spending on that?
Last year in our proposed budget, we had a $3 million savings for SPC. I'm proud to, SPC is our acronym, Suitable Professional Capacity for the students.
There's a lot of acronyms, I know.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's all right.
We had been spending $11 million on the compensation for those teachers. We set a budget this year for $8 million, and we are going to come in under budget for that. So we have more than hit it. You asked the number of teachers. I don't know it as of today. The way that it works is that the pool naturally gets very large. It usually goes north of 400 around this time of year. And then the majority of those teachers are placed. And so I think this year we were somewhere in the territory of around 100 at the start of school. I'm looking at David, he's nodding, yeah. About 100 at the start of the school year. And then it continues to come down as we place qualified teachers. And we also had a package that teachers could elect if they wanted to discontinue their employment with the district.
Okay. Second question is BPS athletics. Personally, I always did better in school when I was in season, whether it was football or baseball. I know that you're working diligently on trying to help the athletic department. And, what you got, to be honest with you, Superintendent, was a tough shop. They didn't have a lot of things. There was some positives, but I think we all realized they could use a lot of work. There's some issues with the exam schools that I've been brought to my desk, and it's a little bit off track, but not the 30,000 foot, really a direct issue with some of my constituents. I have a bunch of for instances, but I'll give you one. Young gentleman goes to O'Brien School, wants to play lacrosse. Can't, even though Latin has a team. It doesn't really make much sense that we have kids within our own pool not being allowed to pursue a sport that he or she wants because they don't offer it at their school, yet it's right down the street. So things like that, I'd love to, when the athletic when the budget, when we start addressing the athletics, that's one of the questions I'm going to be asking, because I just feel like if one person has a better career because we put him on the field or put her on the field, we should be putting them on the field, whether it's soccer or lacrosse or hooper or whatever. And I know that in other towns they do that. They have the, what do you call it? I'm looking at you.
Regional,
What is it?
Regional.
Yeah, regional. There you go. So the regional schools, one school has lacrosse. Everybody from school A goes to school B to play lacrosse. And it's just a shame that if we have one person suffering for it, we just need to address that. Second problem I have with the exams, the athletic department, the play ball program. What I've heard is that the play ball program is giving money to middle schools. I know particularly the Roosevelt and the Mildred Ave are two of them, and I know there's more throughout the city. From my understanding is that the bowling building dropped the ball on this. No pun intended with the play ball, dropped the ball, but and apparently there's a contract that hasn't been signed. So if you can look into that, find out why that hasn't been done and how fast we can get that done, because I know that the middle schools in District 5 rely heavily on that for equipment, for coaching, for all of that stuff. And I think somewhere along the line there's a miscommunication. Okay. Thanks.
Thanks. Council Baker.
Thank you. To pick up on the lacrosse thing a little bit, so what needs to happen there, I think the O'Brien and Latin Academy could form a cooperative, because Latin School has their own team, not part of a cooperative. This is what I was told anyway. But I have to agree with Tim. If there's a kid that wants to play lacrosse, Latin's our only lacrosse team that we have. So we should try and figure out how, because I would think if that gentleman is allowed to play lacrosse, then we would I think generate more lacrosse players. Lacrosse wasn't available to me when I was a kid. I heard it's a pretty good sport, but Dr. Chang, can you talk a little bit about the universal designs of learning, like the principles? Where is it? Is it actual document that we could look at, or like what's behind the universal designs of learning?
Yes.
Where's it come from?
So UDL is an approach to curriculum design through pedagogy. It's about designing the learning experience so students with all sorts of different strengths and assets can participate. So let me just give you an example. Let's say maybe in a traditional classroom, the teacher may ask the students to read a particular book, and then they come back and they answer a set of questions and write an essay based on a novel. That's a very traditional way of teaching a novel. Maybe in UDL, with more of a universal design for learning, you would say, well, students, you could communicate your understanding of the themes of the book in other ways. Whether it may not be an essay, maybe it's done through some sort of role play, maybe it's done through some sort of performance. And then the learning experience, instead of it being just kind of answering questions, let's do a Socratic seminar so students can participate orally as well. I remember as a principal, where I had a student with cerebral palsy, and the student could not vocalize his comments, but he was able to prepare for the Socratic seminar we prepped him with the questions the night before. He went home, prepped some of his answers, and he was able to just play them through his assistive technology. So you're designing a learning experience that allows multiple students to enter into the learning process. And we can get you more information, but that's a basic philosophy.
And so this is the way that BPS will be heading in the next however many years. This is the theory behind the what pathway we'll be on in the coming years. So what I'm looking at is what I'm looking to find out is there some place I can look into what are the designs of learning? What can we expect in the next 10 years? Because not to bring it back to advanced work, you talked about only 10% of whoever in there, and it's not reflective of the student population. But who is that 10%? And is this universal design telling us to get rid of advanced work? And so I'd like to first bring it back. I got a little off track there. Where do we look into this so we can see where our schools are going to be going in the future?
We're in the process of creating instructional position paper for how learning should take place in our schools. That should be completed by August, and we will provide that for you. But we can also get you more information for universal design of learning. It's not just work that we're doing in BPS, it's work that's happening nationally as well as we get better as a society to be more inclusive in our learning spaces.
Okay, and I think I brought this up. Is that design, we're also talking about the environments we're in, the buildings we're in, which is part of that whole capital plan. Does that fit in with this here?
Yeah, it's about our capital. It's about the cultures we create in our schools. It's about being more safe and welcoming in our schools and our classrooms for all students.
Okay, and back to the advanced work, you talked about only 10% going through there, but that's 10% of the population. I've seen one student take up resources from 5 different classes in the school my children go to, and to now say, well, that it's almost saying, well, that 10% they're gonna be able to learn anyway, so let's kind of turn our back on them. I'm very, very concerned about it.
No, we should never say that.
The advanced work, my experience with advanced work has been fabulous. My kids are both in advanced work, and I mean, in 1 week they did more homework than I did my entire school career. I don't know if that's what it's about, just all homework, but they seem to be really doing well. And I just, it concerns me that whatever way we're looking at doing it, phasing it out or keeping it over here, excellence for all, it almost says to me that we're looking at we're looking at closing, like, there's some kids that aren't going to be able, that will not be able to keep up the pace in advanced work or excellence for all. So is it excellence for all and gen ed, or is the curriculum all going to be excellence for all in the schools? That I'm still trying to figure out where we are on it, because it's not very clear at all.
I can only speak, well, we have our plan for next 3 years right now. Well, next 2 years, which is let's focus on these 13 schools where we have more inclusive settings, and let's see if we can truly raise the bar for these 13 schools. We don't have a plan beyond that at this point. But as a superintendent, my goal is I hope that we can raise the bar for even more students across the board. I don't want to communicate at all that we are getting rid of advanced work class. That is not the intention. I know that the counselor asked earlier how many AWC programs we have. We have 16 AWC programs with 40 classrooms total. 11 out of those 16 AWC programs offer only grades 4 through 5, and 5 of those AWC programs only offer 6th grade. We are also experiencing a decrease in our advanced work class enrollment overall. It's a trend we're seeing in recent years, but we don't want to generalize why that is at this point.
Could I see some data on that, and not here, just offline?
Absolutely.
Where those declines are, because I don't, where the experience that I just went through for advanced work, people are trying to get that same experience.
Yeah.
In the school that my children are in, the advanced work program, there's people that would probably pay for it, and the thought of the possibility of not being there. Councilor McCarthy talked about people leaving. That 10% is there because of advanced work. Now we lose that 10%, and I think that 10% it adds value to BPS.
We will provide that data for you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sure. Counselor Sari George.
I'll just save my one question, but just to add on to
You're
that,
asking
one
me a
of my
question
children,
now?
no, just to follow up with why families maybe don't get into or use their seat in AWC. One of my children was eventually called off the wait list for AWC, but for us as a family, we made the choice to keep all of the kids in one school as opposed to split them up.
Yeah.
Although our desire for all the kids was to go to AWC, we didn't choose that, and we were very happy with the school that we were at. So I think
Great.
families, but we need to understand that data, why families either choose to take the seat, don't choose to take the seat, or leave the district. And I think that's the most telling information, and to have that data on, and really conduct some thorough exit interviews with families. But speaking of families who leave, we heard yesterday that there's these 876 kids that are leaving BPS for the charter schools, and it costs us $16,300 per kid. That money follows them out the door. Have we ever crunched the numbers to understand the actual value of that kid? Because with the weighted student formula, we know what each kid what their financial value, their dollar is. What's the actual, if that kid were to remain in BPS, would they be a $16,300 kid, or would they be a higher amount or a lower amount? I think Nate's getting what I'm asking.
Yeah, I think, so we protect schools from some of the cost swings that happen with enrollment. WSF is not intended to be fully loaded 100% of BPS costs. So we exclude from it, as you know, all of the things I listed earlier: transportation, facilities, the cost to have a principal and a school secretary, a number of the special education costs. And so our base funding for a student in WSF is actually $4,100. Then we have a series of weights that go on top of that based on need, and it can get quite a lot higher than that. So it depends on the needs of those students, what dollars would follow them with WSF, and we intentionally protect schools knowing that not all of the costs are variable, as I was just saying. Does that someone answer the question?
I get that. And I know it's a complicated number, but I'm very curious what that kid would use up actually in a classroom, in a seat in one of our schools, because it's not, for the most part, the majority of those kids are not $16,000 kids.
Yeah.
And I've always used my triplets as an example. They each take 3 kids, 3 seats in the same classroom. They absorb they're each a different value number.
Yeah.
Not that I put values on my kids, but they're not all $16,000 kids, but that's what we're losing to the charter schools as part of this process. So I'm just trying to understand what the real value of that kid is leaving our system.
Yeah, we've done some looking at the patterns, and part of this has to do with our weighted student funding model. It has to do with data that we have on students in our system, but that we wouldn't have about charter students.
Well, if they're leaving us, we know.
We know what they left, what their sort of special education status is when they left, or that we may know if they return to us what their special education status is and what those costs are. And we've started to look at some of the who exits and who returns to us. I think there was a city council hearing last spring, presented some of the preliminary data. In addition, we have some students that leave parochial schools and attend charter schools, in which case they go from privately funded education to now things that come out of our sort of Chapter 70 funding. And then we would have to look, I think we don't have as sort of sophisticated of a way of looking at the total cost of students, include transportation costs, right? So if I attend school where I'm not eligible for transportation and then I switch to a charter school, even if my funding is exactly at the $15,000, I'm now more expensive. But I will say that I think that the charter school funding model and their lack of differentiating around funding based on student need is one of the biggest areas in which it is broken, and where the city is a significant disadvantage. If our lower need students, lower cost to serve students are leaving and going to charter schools, it drives up our average student costs, and they don't have an increased marginal cost for serving the student.
I think that's the perfect way to put it, the lower cost to serve kid. I think that's important. And we talked a lot about that yesterday with Chief Sweeney, and I articulated, as well as a number of counselors articulated yesterday, our desire to play a more active role in advocacy at the State House, and I hope that you are all playing a very active role in lobbying at the State House to just really change and improve this funding model. So I promised that that was my last question. Things that I want to, other things that I'll ask about. And certainly this isn't a limited list, but just a few things I didn't get to today. Some questions around school safety. I think that's just, we have a national awareness about school safety issues in all of our schools. And I think that's something we need to talk about more actively. And it's something that is no fun to talk about, but we need to get there. I know we'll have a lot of conversations around some of our bilingual ed programs. Certainly Build BPS will be a big part of some of our conversations going forward. And then, I really want to see us get to a point as a district where we're talking about school start times, both the problem I have personally with the 9:30 starts and our high schools, as well as the grade reconfiguration. So that's just a sampling of what I didn't get to today. Thank you, Chair, and thank you all for your time today.
And just one information request. Could you get the breakdown of enrollment by grade? All the way through?
We have that.
Yeah. I'm just curious. Many years I've seen somewhat of a drop off between our K-0 enrollment and around grades 1, 2, or 3.
The big drops-offs are fourth, even
A
more
four,
failures
right.
than sixth,
Right.
seventh, eighth, and we see increase again at night.
Great. Okay. We have revolving funds. I don't know who's staying for that, but we'll take a 10-minute break and come back right at 2 o'clock.
Sounds good.
Okay. Thank you. This portion of the hearing is adjourned. Thanks. Mark Siomo, I'm the Chairman of Ways and Means and the Alston Brighton District City Councilor. Today is Tuesday, April 25th. I'd like to remind folks that this is a public hearing. It's both broadcast and recorded on RCN Channel 82 and Comcast Channel 8. I'd ask folks in the chamber to silence their electronic devices. At the conclusion of the question and answer period from the council, we will take public testimony. The sign-in sheets are to my left by the door. I'd ask that you state your name and any affiliation and residence. We are here to discuss the Boston Public Schools revolving funds, dockets number 0550, 0551, 0552, and 0559. I'd like to introduce the Vice Chair of Education, Counselor Anissa Asabi George, and let me read the dockets into the record. Docket 0550, message and order authorizing a limit for the Boston Public Schools revolving fund for fiscal year 2018 to support the maintenance and repair of BPS facilities, including custodial and utility costs for extended building time, floor refinishing, landscaping, and building repairs. Receipts from lease permit for use and parking fees for Boston Public School facilities will be deposited in the fund. BPS will be the only unit authorized to expend from the fund, and such expenditures shall not exceed $2,600,000. Docket 0551, message and order authorizing a limit for the Boston Public Schools revolving fund for fiscal year 2018 to repair and purchase Boston Public Schools computer technology, including computers, mobile devices, and instructional software. This revolving fund shall be credited with any and all receipts from equipment sales and repair fees for BPS technology. Receipts and resulting expenditures from this fund shall not exceed $1,500,000. Docket 0552, message and order authorizing a limit for the Boston Public Schools revolving fund for fiscal year 2018 for Boston Public School transportation costs, including bus and public transportation costs. This revolving fund shall be credited with revenue received by the Boston Public School Department for the provision of transportation to groups and entities for field trips and activities other than transportation to and from school. Receipts and resulting expenditures from this fund shall not exceed $125,000. And docket 0559, message and order authorizing a limit for the Boston Public Schools revolving fund for fiscal year 2017 to support the maintenance and repair of BPS facilities, including custodial and utility costs for extended building time, floor refinishing, landscaping, and building repairs. Receipts from lease permit for use and parking fees for BPS facilities will be deposited in the fund. BPS will be the only unit authorized to expend from the fund, and such expenditures shall not exceed $2,600,000. I just want to explain that the last docket is an amended docket referring to the technology fund, I'm sorry, the maintenance and repair BPS facilities fund from $1.8 million to $2.6 million. And at this point, let me turn it over to Nate Cooter from BPS. Thanks, Nate.
Thank you, Chairman. The 4 revolving funds provide BPS with the flexibility to be able to collect revenue from non-city sources and be able to spend the revenue collected for specific purposes designated in the revolving fund accounts. We have 3 revolving fund requests for FY18. This is different from last year. We have eliminated the use of one of our revolving funds because it's not an active account that we're using. So we do continuously review which accounts we need and are keeping these revolving accounts because there is activity in all of them. The first one, as mentioned, was the facilities revolving fund. It allows us to collect revenue when a third party rents a space, either for an activity at night or if we have a long-term lease. It allows us to collect revenue from that. We use the revenue in that account to pay for maintenance and repairs at our buildings, so it is a direct benefit to our facilities. The technology account is used primarily for collection of fees in the event that an employee laptop or cell phone gets damaged. The employee is expected to pay for the repairs on that. This is the way that we collect that. The other large source of funds for this is at the end of our 3 years, we have our Laptop for Learning program, which provides teacher laptops. They're all Apple products. That after 3 years, we have sold the fleet of laptops and use that money to then start the next refresh of the laptop. So that's the largest portion in the existing funding under the technology. And the final one is for transportation for field trips and athletics. When a school fundraises for a field trip or has money in their nonprofit account that they want to be able to then use to pay for a field trip, that is the mechanism with this revolving fund. So that you'll see is a much smaller dollar amount, $125K is the limit. That's because we don't do that high of a volume of those transactions, but we want to make it available to all schools to be able to do those field trips. And the final request is a current year increase for FY17. Part of working with our city partners in understanding the use of revolving funds, it does allow us the flexibility of rolling funds forward from one year to the next. But in order to do that, we need to increase the amount that we collect, or the limit basically for us to collect. So this body authorizes the revolving accounts set at a specific amount. In the case of the facilities, for various reasons, we rolled forward money into FY17 and then have started to collect additional revenue for FY17 that will exceed our set limit. And we're requesting that you increase our limit so that we can continue to collect the revenue until we have our planned expenditures in place.
Great. Let me introduce my friend from District 6, Matt O'Malley, my other friend from Dorchester, District 3, Frank Baker, and I'm going to turn it over to Councilor Anise Sabi-George.
Thank you. I'll be very quick. I do promise. Very quickly, on the facilities fund and increasing it to 2.6, how much are we rolling over? have we almost maximized at 1.8? Is that why we're looking to double it?
We have. Part of the reason when we look at the end of the year at some of the programs, we have the opportunity to, we want to make sure that we're fully expending our general fund dollars. So we made the decision to not expend some of the revolving fund dollars for some of the summer maintenance that we do, including floor screening for our basketball courts. And so we rolled forward. This would double the amount because we had rolled forward the maximum amount.
I getcha. And then, is there a maximum individual expenditure out of, say, the facilities fund, for example? Or could one project use half the fund or the whole fund, potentially? Or is this more for smaller repairs?
This tends to be for smaller sort of maintenance projects. I think the limit is not necessarily on how much we could spend in a single project, but just in sort of the purpose of what we're using it for. This is for more basic maintenance. Anytime we start to get into large scale repairs that could exhaust the full project, we're then talking about capital projects that
Right.
would.
And so this is avoiding capital improvements. This is literally small repairs.
This is
And the
smaller
reason I
repairs, yep.
ask is, how aware are individual schools and the administrators in those schools aware of the ability to maybe access some of this funding?
Accessing this funding would be sort of similar to the way that they would make requests for other basic maintenance and repairs through our facilities department. And so the facilities department is sort of tasked with collating and prioritizing projects. Schools could not, there's not a process by which schools would apply for the revolving fund dollars different from the regular sort of maintenance and repairs projects. We do try and, oh, sorry.
No, go
I
ahead.
just wanted to say we do try and, for the schools that are being used more because we're collecting fees, so for instance, if there's a basketball court that's more popular and is being used more and therefore has more maintenance, we will try and then reinvest that money. In addition, part of the collection is fees for parking. The most notable is the McKinley schools right by Fenway Park. We do have an agreement where they receive some of the shared revenue from that, but we take in the money in the revolving account and we provide them with a general fund supplement to be able to serve their students and use that money at their discretion. So it doesn't actually show as part of the revolving fund.
One of the themes I think we'll hear, you'll hear some questions from me, but from others during the rest of the budget process this coming cycle is restrooms in our schools. And I just think that some of the fixes that could happen in some of our schools' restrooms are smaller dollar fixes, and this would maybe be a great fund to access some of that. But that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilor O'Malley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And good afternoon again, Nate. So, I mean, this is one of the more, or one of the less controversial aspects of any budget, the revolving fund. So just make sure I have it right and those paying attention. So these are different from the budget insofar as they are they're pockets of money that are continually replenished by the same or a similar mechanism, be it a school rents out a gymnasium to a church, for example. I know that seems to be happening with more frequency, or the parking lot. And that money remains in that school. So if the Jane Doe School in West Roxbury rents out their auditorium for an adult basketball league, for example, in non-school hours, that money will stay with the Jane Doe School.
It's not one-to-one in that way. We have the obligation to collect money for a purpose and then use the revenue that we collect in a revolving fund for the designated purpose on it. In the case of the facilities one, we collect fees for the usage of our schools for the idea that it will increase the wear and tear on the building.
Sure.
And then we then will reinvest it in schools. It's not necessarily the exact same schools, but it's sort of looking and using it to be able to improve the sort of repairs overall.
And are we being competitive in our pricing? Let's talk about the McKinley, for example, because that seems to be the one example. Do we contract with a independent operator that runs the parking lot to charge for spots?
I actually don't know the answer to that question, and I apologize. I can find out both. two things. One, if we ever do an external sort of outsource the operation, I don't see expenditures in the account to pay that vendor, but I'll find out more. In terms of competitive pricing for our facilities, I know that's something that we've talked with the facilities team about, and how do we evaluate sort of our structure for a basic permit for one a night. We have not adjusted the costs recently, so I don't know how we would gauge the competitive nature of the renting the Irving School on Sunday morning, for example. I don't know how we sort of stack up.
I mean, I'm a little bit conflicted on this. I don't want to punish, or damage some of the partnerships that have endured for many, many years. On the other hand, and the other part is, I do recognize that BPS has been, in many instances, but not all, but in many instances, good neighbors as parking for, when there's a snowstorm or whatever, working with the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think we have an opportunity, and I'd like to explore this with you further offline, of better leveraging relationships with our schools. Parking is obviously a rarity, particularly with our business districts. And I'm thinking of some of the more congested neighborhoods that could benefit from taking advantage of an amenity that would also generate revenue for a school. So we don't have to take up too much time because this is a pretty pro forma hearing, but I do think there's an opportunity there to explore, and perhaps my colleagues and I may take that up at some point. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I think that's right. Councilor Baker's gone. Well, I think that concludes the revolving funds. I want to thank you for your lengthy testimony today, and we're going to see a lot more of you in the coming weeks.
Looking forward to it.
And this hearing stands adjourned.